missed her grandparents, and that they would take the baby back to their hometown in Kyoto to stay for a few more days when the baby was 6 months old. Back at room 903 in Building 11, Mr. Mo's personal assistant was looking after two babies in the living room. When he saw them come in, he stood up quickly. The baby isn't crying, is he? As soon as she came back, Chen Jun immediately took on the role of a mother and hurried over to see the two babies. It's okay, the babies are sleeping soundly and haven't woken up to cry, Zaya Wan said with a smile. Thank you. Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao hurriedly expressed their gratitude. No. The assistant waved his hands repeatedly. I am Mr. Mo's personal assistant. This is my job. It is said that this young assistant originally graduated from a key university. However, when she later joined Feiyun Group, Mo Wan accidentally saw that her resume specifically stated that she had obtained certificates such as nanny and childcare worker. She thought it was quite interesting and transferred her to her side as a life assistant. I have to say that this decision is very wise, and this young assistant is really good at taking care of people. Mo Wan was well taken care of by her. Apart from the anxiety and insomnia caused by the busy work and high market competition pressure of Feiyun Group, she never had a cold or fever. When she came here in the morning, after learning about what Mr. Mo had learned about moxibustion from Wu Jiantao, Assistant Zaya Wan immediately came to him to learn the moxibustion technique and some knowledge about related acupuncture points. After the excitement of the baby's full-month banquet yesterday, even though Mr. Mo and Father Chen were also here today, the house inevitably felt a lot quieter. Especially since Chen Jun was still a little immersed in the mood of parting, the house felt inexplicably dull. At noon, Wu Jiantao prepared lunch and called Chen Jun out from the bedroom. Why are there so many dishes for lunch today? When she saw the sumptuous meal on the table, she was stunned at first. Then she realized, is Zaya Ashen coming? Well, that's not all. Wu Jiantao smiled mysteriously at her while setting the table. Not only that, there are others. Chen Jun had no interest in asking more questions, so he turned around and went to the next door to ask his parents to come over for lunch. As the three of them walked out of the door of 902, they saw the elevator in the corridor ding. A familiar tall figure walked out of it. The person who came was actually Li Xiaoshan. As she came out of the elevator, she happened to see Chen Jun and the other three, and immediately rushed over with laughter. I'm here to cause trouble. She hung on to Chen Jun, hugged her, and rubbed against her. It feels like a long time since we last met. Did you miss me? Oops. Chen Jun pulled the thing off his body with a disgusted look on his face and said with great disdain, No. That's right. Being pushed and kicked away by her bestie, Li Xiaoshan said angrily. Sang Xin, someone has a husband now and has forgotten about her bestie. Yesterday, I was outside helping to clean up, and someone was hiding in the room playing kissing. Chapter 104, I took a sip of cold noodles. Please read it again and vote for me, Tilda. As soon as these words were spoken, the corridor fell silent. Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen turned around and looked at their daughter, whose face instantly flushed in astonishment. Li Xiaoshan shut up. At this moment, Chen Jun was really embarrassed, angry, ashamed, and annoyed. Hey, are you shy? Seeing her furious look, Li Xiaoshan felt so upset when she ate dog food. Now she felt so happy when she saw Chen Jun's embarrassed look. My mouth is on me, but I still want to say Lulu. Li Xiaoshan, I'm going to tear your mouth apart. Li Xiaoshan ran into 903 laughing wildly, followed closely by Chen Jun Yu Wenhuang, who was left aside, came over and greeted the two elders, Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen. Father Chen still has some impression of this young man. Father Wu even gave him a special introduction at the banquet last night. The captain of the Q City Police Department's security team. Although he is a little older, he is definitely a young man with a promising future and is indeed worthy of Xiaoshan. During the chat, he felt that this young man was very capable and straightforward, but he didn't know if he could get along with Xiaoshan. When they sat down at the table, Chen Jun's face was still a little red. Well, she was originally thin-skinned, and Li Xiaoshan's revelation just now directly broke the limit of what her face could bear. Have a meal. President Mo glared at the two girlfriends in anger. Stop making trouble. Even eating can't stop you from talking. What's going on? While eating, Wu Jiantao gave Chen Jun an inquiring look, but unexpectedly the girl rolled her eyes in response. He was inexplicably embarrassed by Chen Jun, and he couldn't comfort her in person. Wu Jiantao had no choice but to turn around and look at his eldest cousin, Yuan Huang, beside him and asked curiously, Cousin, are you busy with work recently? Good. Yuan Huang nodded. There's a big and difficult case in F City recently, and I was assigned here. I'll go back to the security department after dinner. Wu Jiantao nodded, not surprised at all. My eldest cousin is already very busy at his job at the security department. He came to attend the baby's full-month banquet yesterday, and today he and Li Xiaorashan came to have a meal together and meet the elders. If he didn't go back to Q City, it must be because he had work tasks in F City. The arrival of Li Xiaorashan suddenly changed the atmosphere of 903, making the originally dull atmosphere become particularly lively and cheerful. How can you not be lively? As soon as this guy arrived, he started talking about the scene where he ran into Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao last night, which aroused this rather thin-skinned girl a lot. After lunch, Li Xiaorashan slipped away, saying that she was busy with work at the Research Institute. Well, it's almost the same with my cousin Yuan Huang. It's not easy for him to find time to come to the university town from East Street to have lunch together. It must be Lai Xiu Shan who called him. Otherwise, this busy man would have been so focused on the case that he would have no time to come over. That's right, this lively and lovely girl introduced to him by his second aunt has deeply attracted him. Perhaps it was because he was devoted to work, had a relatively small social circle, was a bit dull and didn't talk much, and the appearance of Li Xiaorashan just happened to add a rare touch of color to his dullness. Seeing the girl giggling, Yuan Huang smiled a lot more. As soon as they left, Chen Jun, who was extremely ashamed and angry, immediately got furious and kept pinching Wu Jiantao in the room. It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be teased by her like this. Oh my, Wu Jiantao was grimacing as he was being pinched, and he feigned anger. That's enough. If you come back, I'll fight back. You dare? Chen Jun was furious and continued to grab the soft flesh on Wu Jiantao's waist and hit him hard. If you dare to hit me, I will tell your mother. Whoosh! Someone suddenly turned over like a kite. At the critical moment, Chen Jun knew what this guy's counterattack was, so he immediately covered his mouth with both hands to prevent him from succeeding easily. Get up. Don't want. You bully me. You'd rather call it bullying. Someone widened his eyes, feeling justified but confident. That's right. The girl's face was flushed, and her eyes were full of love, which made someone's heart simmer. He couldn't help but bend down and bite the back of her hand that was covering her mouth. Hateful, you're disgusting. Chen Jun pushed the guy away, gave him a fierce look, went into the bathroom with disgust, turned on the faucet to wash the saliva on the back of his hand. Wash your hands, turn off the water, and dry your palms. Suddenly, the girl's heart moved. Was her reaction just now too big? Would he have any objection? She couldn't help but feel a little anxious, fearing that her big reaction just now would make someone feel uncomfortable. She tilted her ear slightly and listened to the noise outside the bathroom. Silent and breathless, all of a sudden, Chen Jun's heart tightened inexplicably. He quickly opened the bathroom door and carefully stuck his head out. However, Daodu and Mia were still lying peacefully in the baby's crib beside the bed, sleeping soundly. But someone had disappeared, and the huge room was empty. Jiangtao. She couldn't help but feel a little flustered, and quickly turned around, opened the door, and chased out. Jiangtao. The girl raised her voice again. When she got outside, she saw Wu Jiantao in the corridor. He was wearing a chef's skirt and holding a bowl of chicken, vegetable, and millet porridge in his hand. He looked at her strangely. Are you there? Is the baby awake? Seeing her anxious look, Wu Jiantao thought the baby was making a fuss and hurried over. No, the baby is not awake, you. Chen Jun looked at him carefully. You are not angry. Wu Jiantao looked puzzled, angry. Why am I angry? Although she didn't know why she thought she would be angry, this guy reacted very quickly and immediately frowned. Angry? Why am I not angry? I am very angry. Chen Jun, who are you fooling? The girl was immediately furious and couldn't help but raise her foot and kick him, hitting him right in the face. The next moment, she felt as if she had kicked on reinforced concrete. She sucked in a mouthful of cold noodles and squatted down, holding her feet in pain. Wu Jiantao quickly put the rice porridge aside, walked over and squatted to show her his feet. Tusk, poor kid. The nail of his big toe has turned red. It hurts. Holding her feet, Chen Jun burst into tears out of reflex due to the pain. Wu Jiantao immediately picked up the girl, put her on the sofa in the living room, held her feet in his hands, blew on them and rubbed them gently. Huff, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt. Why are you kicking me for no reason? Aren't you just looking for trouble? Alas, I just came back from my wife's ancestral temple. It's early morning now, today. Today is a night watch. Today's double update is still based on the saved manuscripts. There will probably be only one update tomorrow morning. Let me explain in advance. Chapter 105. Bright and beautiful, please read the monthly ticket. He looked carefully. Fortunately, my toes are just a little red. They will be fine after applying some red oil. If it were an ordinary person, this kick wouldn't necessarily hurt anyone. But Wu Jiantao was a professional warrior. His muscles and bones were trained to be extremely strong, and the collision just now. To be precise, it's more like an egg hitting steel bars. Fortunately, Chen Jun is a weak girl and her feet are not very strong. Otherwise, the reaction force would be stronger and even cause a broken toe. It's all your fault, it's all your fault. The girl who had recovered from her anger became even angrier and stretched out her hands to pinch Wu Jiantao. Blame me, blame me. Wu Jiantao was completely confused. Back in the bedroom, Chen Jun, who had gloriously become a wounded soldier, leaned back on the recliner, sipping rice porridge in small sips, while his right foot was still in Wu Jiantao's hand. Her face turned red again, and she couldn't help but pull back her right foot. It's a bit itchy. Wu Jiantao pretended not to hear and held her feet and massaged them gently. I have to say that Chen Jun's feet are very beautiful, slender, and with small ankles. After Wu Jiantao's pedicure and massage, they are now even more delicate, white, tender, and smooth, and her toes are neat and cute with a rosy luster. He can't put it down. All right. They had finished their bowl of rice porridge, but Wu Jiantao was still massaging her. Chen Jun's face turned redder and her heart beat faster. It doesn't hurt anymore. Can you let go? Don't want. Have to. Chen Jun could only let it go, half lying on the recliner, letting Wu Jiantao give her a foot massage. She felt her body warm and couldn't help yawning. Slowly, she drooped her eyelids in a daze, while Wu Jiantao continued to play. Phew, it's a foot massage. Zzz. As she kept pressing, she relaxed physically and mentally and fell asleep. Wu Jiantao then stopped massaging and looked up, only to see. She leaned sideways on the recliner, her black hair flowing down like a waterfall, her white jade ears half hidden and half visible in it, and a faint blush still lingered on her orchid-like cheeks. After staring at her quietly for a long time, Wu Jiantao stood up, picked her up gently, and put her on the bed. Good afternoon. In the afternoon, Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen also left and went back to Kyoto. Dad, Mom, be careful on the road. After sending Mr. Mo to the gate of Yunlayuan community, Chen Jun's face was full of reluctance. Well, you should take care of yourself, and take good care of Daodu and Mio Mio. When they were about to leave, it was Father Chen who spoke more, while President Mo did not have that many words to say. He just looked at his daughter. It seemed that looking at her one more time was one more time, but also seemed that looking at her one less time was one less time. Sometimes, even the CEO of a listed group company that manages nearly 100,000 people can't help but think with some regret. If I hadn't gone into the sea and become a successful actress, perhaps I would be happier and more lively today. At least I could spend more time with my daughter and be by her side. My relationship with her might not have become like this, right? Of course, despite his thoughts, Mr. Mo quickly calmed down and became resolute again. In the eyes of others, Fei Yun Group has been listed for many years and is at the top of the industry, and even at the pinnacle of China's manufacturing industry. But in her opinion, Fei Yun must continue to move forward and continue to forge ahead. Over the years, the international situation has been changing rapidly, and the general environment is very unfriendly to China's high-end manufacturing companies. Various overt and covert suppression from the West has made it somewhat difficult for Fei Yun Group. But no matter how difficult it is, she also has to face it with a frown. Let's go. After getting in the car, Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen waved to their daughter one last time, then drove away amid the low sound of the engine. The summer afternoon is still scorching hot, but the breeze blowing from the back mountain brings a hint of coolness to the dense shade of the trees. In the lush green woods of the garden community, there are occasionally patches of butterflies flying up. In the stroller, Daodu and Mio Mio were both awake, looking at the surroundings with great curiosity. Their big black eyes were so cute. Wu Jiantao was pushing a cart and walking with Chen Jun on the forest path in the garden community. Just when he wanted to comfort this somewhat silent girl, he saw her raise her hands and stretch. Finally, liberated. But Chen Jun looked up and squinted his eyes, letting the sunlight shining through the woods fall on his face full of happiness. Seeing her happy face, Wu Jiantao was stunned. No, was Ning a little unhappy just now in front of Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen? You keep telling me that I just came out of confinement after giving birth and that I can't do this or that. It's just washing my hair, isn't it? Is that a big deal? I'm so annoyed. After talking to himself for a few words, Chen Jun turned to look at Wu Jiantao, who was a little surprised. Hey, I want to eat spicy chicken tonight. Why are you looking at me like that? Did you hear my order? It seems like there's no chicken at home. Well, the chickens that were slaughtered and brought from home during the confinement period were all eaten. If Wu Jiantao really wanted to eat more, he would have to go to the vegetable market. The most important thing was, someone called this morning to make a reservation and said they didn't have chicken at home. Then I don't care. Chen Jun snorted, turned around, and walked briskly on the forest path with his hands behind his back. Suddenly, he raised his hands and turned around. Her light footsteps made people feel like a happy little deer, and when her waist stretched and she turned gracefully, she looked like a beautiful butterfly, which made Wu Jiantao stare at her. This was the first time he saw Chen Jun dance. Although it was very short, it gave him a very amazing feeling. Let's go to Jiangxin Garden on the other side of the river. I haven't been there yet. Chen Jun walked happily in front. Okay, I also want to go for a walk over there. Wu Jiantao pushed the stroller and looked at the girl who had regained her energy, and his heart brightened up. What? Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen had just returned. In the evening, Li Xiaoshan moved to the room next to 903 with empty hands and a lot of bags. Oh, thank you for your hard work. Come on, give Ning a reward. As she spoke, Li Xiaoshan suddenly opened her arms and hugged Yu Wenwang in front of her. This unexpected hug made the older young man stunned, and he subconsciously put his arms around her. Li Xiaoshan was just over 1.7 meters tall, and Yuan Huang was over 1.9 meters tall. When they hugged, the girl's head just happened to rest on his chest. At this moment, someone's thoughts fluctuate like this. It's been so many days, and you don't even dare to hold my hand. Okay, no need to hold the lead. I'll just come to your door and hold you in my arms, okay? Kiss me, nibble me, be naughty with me. I have to stay up all night tonight, and the funeral will be held tomorrow. I am so tired. Chapter 106. I decided to read it and ask for a monthly ticket, Tilda. But Yuan Huang just stared at her blankly, looking at her pretty face close to him, her big eyes slightly narrowed, her small and straight nose, her lips slightly parted. Heart palpitations. And waiting, Li Xiaoshan was so embarrassed, but the guy in front of her was like a piece of wood. Although when they chatted before, he talked about the past, saying that he had always been studying and practicing martial arts, and was very busy at work, and had never been in a relationship. But it shouldn't be like this, right? You. Li Xiaoshan angrily gave this guy a headbutt on the chest. You. Kiss me, you big idiot. Yuan Huang's heart warmed up and he immediately lowered his head. Just as they were about to touch each other, click, the door of 902 opened, and then a familiar voice came. Xiaoshan, you are here. The next moment, the two men suddenly separated as if they had been electrocuted, and on the other side of the door was Chen Jun. You guys. Tit for tat, Wu Jiantao's good fortune was ruined by Li Xiaoshan before, and today she finally mustered up the courage to take down Yu Wenwang, who in her opinion was a bit naive but very pure and high-quality straight man. But it was disrupted by Chen Jun. No, it's not a mess. As the saying goes, a man chasing a woman is like a mountain, and a woman chasing a man is like a layer of gauze. Now the first one to express his feelings is Li Xiaoshan, and Yuan Huang has always liked her. The relationship can be said to have been confirmed. The key point is that what was disturbed was someone's long-planned. Li Xiaoshan roared inwardly, just like that. However, she didn't show any embarrassment of being caught. Instead, she rolled her eyes at Chen Jun, who appeared, and said, "Why are you here? Can't you see I'm busy?" Busy moving. I said you're so quick. Chen Jun looked at her bestie with some doubt. Although Li Xiaoshan seemed carefree, enthusiastic, and sunny, she was actually quite conservative in relationships. Her love experience in college, in particular, dealt her quite a blow. In the past few years, it's not that there haven't been outstanding boys pursuing her. Just like last year, she met a boy who made her heart beat, but at that time, she was sent by the Institute to the United States for project research and exchange studies, which caused this relationship to end before it even began. After returning this year, the boy was already together with another girl. Then, Wu Ma introduced her to Yuan Huang. Where have we reached yet? Li Xiaoshan retorted, no matter how fast I am, I'm still not as fast as you. Chen Jun was suddenly speechless. Although she could sometimes choke people with her words, she was not good at arguing. I just came here to ask you to eat. Are you coming or not? What? Li Xiaoshan moved into 902, which immediately added a lot of joy to 903. However, people's joys and sorrows are not the same. For example, at the dinner table today, Chen Jun only felt that Li Xiaoshan was noisy. Li Xiaoshan looked at the small plate of spicy chicken in front of Chen Jun. There was no doubt that this was a dish Wu Jiantao made specifically for her. Although he didn't want to compete with her for food, she still asked, Jiangtao, I sent you a WeChat message to order lunch today. Didn't Ning say that we don't have chicken at home and can't make spicy chicken? This, Wu Jiangtao could only scratch his head. In the afternoon, Xiaojun suddenly said that she wanted to eat this dish, so I went to the market and bought half a chicken. Li Xiaoshan was speechless. She couldn't say anything. It was only natural for Wu Jiangtao to do so. Chen Jun is the biological mother of his 2 babies. If he doesn't treat her well, who can he treat well? Forget it, considering that you just came out of confinement. I won't compete with you for the dish today. Li Xiaoshan consoled herself, and then reluctantly pulled her eyes away from the dish and picked up another dish of fish, flavored pork shreds on the table that was also delicious in color, aroma, and taste. Although this dish is also delicious, but I really want to eat spicy chicken. At the dinner table, everyone was speechless. Look at this poor kid, he was so greedy. Saliva was flowing from the corners of his eyes. Chen Jun ate the long-lost spicy chicken calmly, taking a sip of refreshing soy milk from time to time, while someone opposite him kept glancing over here. It smells so good. It whetted her appetite even more. She just felt that today's food was particularly delicious, and her appetite was whetted. For the first time in her life, she stood up and got another half bowl of white rice. She sat down and just picked up a small piece of spicy chicken. On the other side, Li Xiaoshan paused and stared at the spicy chicken nugget with wide eyes as it went into Chen Jun's mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are only 4 pieces left. Woo. This best friend couldn't stand it anymore. She put down her bowl and chopsticks, clasped her hands together, and bowed to Chen Jun. I beg your majesty to stop using your magical powers. I can't stand it anymore. In the end, in this battle between the 2 best friends, Chen Jun won a complete victory with a plate of spicy chicken. In this regard, Yuan Huang once again refreshed his girlfriend's enthusiasm for food. Of course, it was only about delicious food. After the meal, the cousin pulled Wu Jiangtao aside and started asking him how to make the spicy chicken. After considering for a few days, Wu Jiangtao discussed with Chen Jun again and finally decided to accept the invitation of Wang Yu, director of the Political and Educational Department of M University, and stay on campus to apply for an assistant professor position in the martial arts department of M University. Nowadays, in addition to the development of competitive arenas, the field of martial arts also has quite good career prospects in other industries, such as the education system. In the current society, the salaries of professional martial artists are still very considerable. Although he is only an assistant teacher, his salary is not low at all. He gets a monthly salary of 15,000 yuan during a 1-month probation period and 25,000 yuan after becoming a regular employee. He also has many benefits in terms of 6 insurances and 1 fund. Compared with the average M University students, Wu Jiangtao's salary level is already very high. Of course, it is still not as high as some genius students who enter listed group companies right after graduation. Just like Feiyun Group, in order to compete with other large groups for the scarce talented students, it launched a super genius talent strategy plan, attracting talented students from well-known domestic universities such as Southeast University of Science and Technology, Peking University, and Tsinghua University to join. The proud sons of heaven who enter this talent strategy camp all have an annual salary starting at 1 million. Chen Jun is also at this level, but after graduation she did not choose to join these top corporate groups. Instead, she followed her master and entered a research institute, where she participated in various research projects, published papers, and continuously improved herself. However, with the development path she has chosen, it is foreseeable that she will not be able to sit idle in the future and will definitely be very busy. But with Wu Jiangtao around, he will definitely take good care of her. At least when it comes to diet, Chen Jun has become picky because of him and will definitely not be able to get used to the food outside. Warm, I didn't sleep all night yesterday, and today there's a funeral, cremation, and box delivery. I barely managed to find time to write a little, and only 1 update for. I will definitely resume the double updates starting tomorrow. I will speed up the writing on Wednesday and Thursday and burst out on Friday tilde. Chapter 107, 42 days of physical examination asking for monthly tickets tilde. For example, Li Xiaoshan, who has returned to work at the Research Institute, would come back to eat at least 1 or 2 meals a day, no matter how busy she was, instead of eating at school or simply ordering takeout. Having been accustomed to the delicious food prepared by Wu Jiangtao, the food outside tasted like wax, and she had no appetite. The biggest advantage of Wu Jiangtao choosing to work at M University is that in addition to attending a few classes a week, he will have plenty of time to practice martial arts. and at the same time he will be able to take good care of his family and take care of Chen Jun's daily life. Of course, he won't officially start working until next semester. After all, the two babies are still young, and Chen Jun sometimes can't take care of them alone at home. As for the source of income in the past few months, Wu Jiangtao told Chen Jun that he was trading stocks and virtual currencies, and showed her the balance in his account. It's quite a lot, more than 400,000. Well, these incomes are actually rewards obtained after completing some tasks issued by the super dad or hidden in life. But the distribution method needs to be through virtual currency and the stock market. Time passes. Soon, the physical examination for Daodu and Mayo Miao 42 days after birth arrived. Well, as a mother, Chen Jun also had to undergo a 42-day physical examination. On this day, Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun both woke up very early. One of them fed the baby first, trying to ensure that the baby would not suddenly cry for milk in the next 2 or 3 hours, while the other went to pack the backpack, checking the baby's diapers, spare blankets, milk bottles, milk powder, and thermos cups filled with warm water. After having a baby, Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao can no longer go anywhere anytime like they did when they were single. When they went out, Wu Jiangtao carried a travel bag and pushed a stroller, and Chen Jun also took out the largest bag from her own handbag and filled it with a lot of things. Well, it was full of her personal belongings. Now, in addition to the two babies, she also has things to bring. Zio Chen, are you guys going out? As soon as they got downstairs, a middle-aged woman passing by saw their family of 4 carrying a lot of bags and asked with a smile. Well, Professor Chen, my baby and I are going to the hospital for a physical examination today. Chen Jun smiled and nodded to her. The university professor stopped and looked at Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao with concern. Is it the full-month physical examination? No, it's a physical examination 42 days after delivery. Both my baby and I have. Oh, time flies, have a good checkup. Yeah, thank you. In Yunlu Garden, many people who bought houses were tutors, professors, and even students from various institutions in the university town. Chen Jun knew many of them, such as Professor Chen, who also lived in Building 11. Although he was not from M University, he was an old professor at the M Normal University. In the past, he had cooperated with Chen Jun's research institute several times on a scientific research project, and he met Chen Jun at work. After bidding farewell to Professor Chen, whom they had met by chance, the two of them brought their baby to the gate of the community, where the special car they had called was already waiting. The 42-day postpartum checkup is mainly to make an overall assessment of the mother's postpartum wounds, pelvic floor function, body and uterus, and other organs. It is convenient for early detection of problems and early treatment. It prevents the mother from having any sequelae. At the same time, it is also an assessment of the baby's development after birth. For this physical examination, they did not go to the Kinkeo Maternal and Child Health Hospital. After all, it was just a community hospital. Wu Jiangtao brought Chen Jun and the baby to the F-City Second Hospital, which is very authoritative in gynecology. For today's physical examination, Wu Jiangtao had already made an appointment in advance through the hospital's official account. After arriving and registering, they went directly to the gynecology clinic. After arriving here, Wu Jiangtao could only stand outside in the corridor and watch Chen Jun push the baby carriage into the clinic for a physical examination. The physical examination went smoothly. In the obstetrics and gynecology clinic of the second hospital, the doctor who examined and performed ultrasound on Chen Jun was an elderly female doctor with slightly gray hair and a kind face, who made people feel good at first sight. Ahem. The elder patted Chen Jun, who was lying on the bed, affectionately. Looking at her rosy and somewhat embarrassed face, he said with a smile, "Okay, get up. Your breasts, pelvic floor muscles, and uterus have all recovered very well. It seems that you have had a good confinement." Thanks. Chen Jun quickly got up and tidied her clothes. Suddenly she thought of something and asked, "Doctor, how can I lose the fat on my lower abdomen?" The middle-aged female doctor couldn't help but shook her head. "You're already married. Why do you still need such a good figure? Listen to me, it's good to have a little flesh. Your husband will like it more, and it will be more harmonious." Chen Jun, harmony what? On the other side, the nurse has already measured the basic physical data of Daodu and Mayo Miao. Well, the elder brother Mayo Miao is 52, 1 cm long and weighs 395 kg, while the younger sister Daodu is 52, 7 cm long and weighs 397 kg. Chen Jun was amazed by the data. Her sister Daodu's physical index was actually higher than her brother's. She quickly asked the doctor what was going on. "Haha, it's okay. Strictly speaking, the twins were born at the same time, but they were taken out in different orders. The difference may be related to diet and habits. I guess the younger sister should eat more and be more noisy, right? Under Wu Jiangtao's care, Chen Jun's diet and daily life are very regular, especially in terms of diet structure. The combination of meat and vegetables and nutrition are all fully provided. Therefore, the various vitamins and calcium in the milk the baby eats are naturally sufficient. The baby is growing very well, and his height and weight are slightly larger than the average height and weight indicators of babies at the same stage. The female doctor named Zai talked to Chen Jun to understand the specific conditions of the two babies while conducting further physical examinations such as fontanelle, throat, heart and lung auscultation, reproductive organs, muscle tone, etc. Well, the baby is in good health, keep it up. By the way, I checked the vaccination records and found that the two babies have not received their hepatitis B booster shots yet. I'll write you a prescription and you can go to the window across the street to get the shot. Oh, good. There's still another shot, come back in a month. As she spoke, the female doctor wrote down the time of today's vaccine injection, as well as the name and date of the next vaccine injection. If your baby has a rash or catches a cold, you can hold off on getting the vaccine for now. Okay. After getting the vaccine, please wait for half an hour before leaving. Okay, thank you. You're welcome, this is what I should do. Chen Jun put on her mask again and walked out of the clinic pushing the stroller. Wu Jiantao, who had been waiting outside for a long time, came over immediately with a nervous look on his face. How was the physical examination? My baby and I are fine. Nothing is wrong. Now I have to go get my baby vaccinated. Okay. Chapter 108. Guarding Against Thieves. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. When giving the vaccinations, the nurse in charge of the injections kindly reminded Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun that they should wake up the two babies before the injections. Although the babies will definitely cry during the injections, waking them up won't startle them. Well. Soon, the nurse skillfully vaccinated both babies. The two babies, who felt pain for the first time, cried aggrievedly, with tears welling up in their big eyes. Ouch, it doesn't hurt anymore. Outside the vaccination room, Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun were immediately distressed. They each picked up a baby and gently patted the baby's back. There was a nursing room nearby. Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao brought their baby into the room, picked up the crying little sister Daodu, and directly opened the warehouse to feed the baby. When it comes to comforting babies, mothers have a unique advantage. All they have to do is hold the baby close to their chest, open the chest, and let the baby hear the familiar heartbeat, and the baby will soon calm down. And what about Dad? There is no other way. Just like now, Wu Jiangtao was holding his brother Mayomio, and could only hold him and rock him gently, softly patting the baby's back to try to comfort him. But perhaps the pain just now scared Mayomio, and he kept struggling in his arms to try to find the familiar granary, and when he couldn't find it, he cried even harder. In the nursing room, Chen Jun saw this scene and hurriedly asked him to bring his brother over and let go of the granary on the other side. Well, it has been a while since I held two babies on my left and right and fed them at the same time. The two babies have grown bigger and become heavier. Fortunately, Chen Jun has recovered well and can hold them. After a while, the two babies finally calmed down after making a lot of noise, and Wu Jiangtao breathed a sigh of relief. When we came to the hall outside, there were parents or grandparents holding their babies everywhere. There were newborns like Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun who were just 1 month old, and there were also children who were 7 or 8 months old and could even run around on the ground. Well, no matter whether it is a newborn baby or a baby several weeks old, most of them come here for physical examinations and vaccinations. At this time, the whole hall was very lively, especially those 4 or 5-year-old children who cried and threw tantrums when their parents forcibly lifted them up and brought them into the vaccination room, and cried even more when they came out after the vaccination. Of course, there were also those who were fooled by their parents to go in bravely and then cried aggrievedly after coming out. Dad lied to me. He said that as long as I was brave, it wouldn't hurt. Now that I'm brave, it still hurts. It hurts so much, Nearby, a little boy of 5 or 6 years old threw himself into his mother's arms, crying and saying that his father had lied to him, which made the adults around him laugh. As he watched, Wu Jiangtao was very impressed by the nurses and doctors working here. They could work calmly and methodically in such a noisy environment all day long. Awesome! After sitting quietly in the hall for more than half an hour and making sure that there were no abnormalities with the two babies, Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun held hands, pushed the stroller, walked out of the obstetrics and gynecology hall, and headed towards the hospital gate. Call. It was finally over. It wasn't hard to come to the hospital for a physical examination and vaccination, but when Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun walked outside after it was over, they both breathed a sigh of relief. When they returned to their home in Building 11 of Yunlu Garden, it was almost noon. Chen Jun's stomach was growling with hunger. Wu Jiangtao quickly turned around and went to the kitchen to make her some millet porridge that he had cooked in the morning and kept warm. "Eat something first, I'll make lunch." After bringing a bowl of millet porridge to Chen Jun, Wu Jiangtao, who was already wearing a chef's skirt, took another look at Daodu and Mao Miao. Seeing that the two babies were sleeping soundly, he turned around and left the room to prepare today's lunch. In the room, Chen Jun looked at his tall back as he left, and her heart moved slightly. But as soon as she finished the bowl of millet porridge, the girl immediately sat down at the desk in the room, turned on the desk lamp and began to look through some project materials and work tasks that Li Xiaoshan had recently brought back from the Research Institute for her. She really wasn't the type to sit back and relax. Soon lunch was ready. Perhaps because she was too busy at the institute, Li Xiaoshan did not send WeChat messages to order food in advance, nor did she come to eat. It was a rare occasion today that they were the only two sitting in the restaurant. Although the house was much quieter, for some reason there was a faint warmth in the air. Taking the bowl of soup, Chen Jun took a look inside the bowl. It was red soup with a few red mushrooms and a few pieces of chicken, which looked very appetizing. She picked up the chicken wing and took a bite. The smooth and delicious skin and tender meat, coupled with the fragrant soup, made her close her eyes involuntarily after taking a sip. So delicious! A few small pieces of chicken were eaten one after another, and the red mushrooms that were a bit chewy and refreshing were not eaten with any sand. In no time, Chen Jun had finished a small bowl of red mushroom stewed chicken soup. Cool. Chen Jun couldn't help but let out a light breath, and he felt his stomach warm up. The previous feeling of being a little hungry was swept away. "Give me another bowl." Ahem. Wu Jiangtao smiled and shook his head, then took the bowl and poured her another half bowl. "Don't drink too much soup at once, otherwise your stomach will be a little bloated when you eat dinner later." MMMs. After drinking some more soup, Chen Jun stood up and got himself a 7/10 bowl of white rice, and began to eat the vinegar pork ribs, stewed radish and hand-shredded cabbage on the table. Among them, Chen Jun liked the hand-shredded cabbage the most. She picked up a piece and put it in her mouth. It is crispy but not raw, salty with a hint of sweetness, and sweet with a hint of sourness, plus a few chili peppers for a light spicy taste. It tastes absolutely amazing. Brush, brush, brush. The hand-shredded cabbage was very appetizing in itself, and Chen Jun had quickly eaten up most of the plate without realizing it. During the meal, she also ate several pieces of the crispy and tender vinegar spare ribs. In less than 10 minutes, she had finished the bowl of rice. Chen Jun smacked her lips and felt like she could eat another bowl. However, she was always self-disciplined and resisted the urge to get another bowl of white rice. Instead, she turned around and got some red mushroom stewed chicken soup. After drinking the soup and feeling about 70% full, she turned her head and suddenly found someone. "I don't know when he sat next to me. Yes, it's very close, almost touching me." She immediately stood up alertly and began to clean up her bowl and chopsticks, and the dishes that had been completely eaten. Wu Jiangtao. "Hey, Ning, isn't it too much to guard against me like a thief?" Chapter 109, a tribute to my 5 years. At 12 noon, the chapter will be released tilde. At 12 noon, the chapter will be released tilde. At 12 o'clock noon, the chapter will be released. What? Testimonials. I stumbled along the way. I am exploring in life and dreams. Sometimes we really fantasize that there really is an old man, a system, that can rely on us and allow us to move forward bravely, but we must eventually return to reality. I am 28 or 29 years old, 35 or 36 years old, almost 40 years old, and my life is still so dark and gloomy. I am in a daze at work, my life is a mess, and I am even more timid in my relationship. Most people of this age, neither young nor middle-aged, can only drift in vain in cities full of prosperity and respectability. But among these people, there are still a few who still have dreams, beliefs, passions, and hopes. They firmly believe that they still have infinite possibilities, even though they are facing the abyss at this moment. Writing a book, typing words, is just like an emoticon that the writer makes for himself. Typing words, sitting in jail, typing is like sitting in jail. Writing online articles is really hard. Even if it is just 2,000 words a day, writing day after day, year after year for 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years, or 10 years, is enough to make a person collapse. Some people always think that being an online writer is easy, and that they can be financially independent by simply writing a few million words. However, when they step into the industry with full confidence, they realize how cruel this industry is. Just like what Toad Boss said in a short video posted on Jihu on December 4 last year. The online writing industry is not as good as you think. Don't think of it as a very reliable career. Its success rate is about the same as the probability of buying a lottery ticket. Some people may think that if you have good writing skills, you have a chance, but Hu Zhaoqiang invited the presidents of the writers' associations of various provinces, Han Han, Lan Xiaolong, Guo Jingming, and other top masters of traditional literature. Their lineup is magnificent. There are old writers and new generation writers. All of them have come to Kidian to write books. Many readers may not know this, but this really happened. The result was that all of them failed. Only Lan Xiaolong's subscription was the best. How good is the best? I didn't get the elite medal. I will repeat what Toad Boss said here, and what follows is my words. It can be said that every author who appears before you has gone through countless PKs, competitions, and struggles. And it can be said that thousands of troops have crossed a single plank bridge before they came to you. Me too. Fortunately, I have been struggling on Kidian for less than 5 years, and I have finally learned something. I know what readers need and what I can do. If I really want to talk about how good my writing ability is, I am definitely not as good as the masters in traditional fields mentioned above. They are the sun and the moon, and I am not even as good as a candle. So in the end, let's cherish every author who makes it to the shelves. It's not easy for them. It's the same for me and all the authors whose books are on the shelves at 12 noon today. Keep moving forward and fly into the dream. Let's look up to the sky and howl. The road ahead is long. Chapter 110, What You Wish, 1-5. Chapter 110, What I Wish for Tilda, 15. Xiaojian that? He couldn't help coughing. The girl who was cleaning the dishes looked up and rolled her eyes at him. The next moment she heard this guy say, it seems that. I should be the one guarding against you, right? Chen Jun was immediately embarrassed and awkward, and her toes almost tore her slippers on the spot. She couldn't help but put down the dishes in the sink, turned around and looked at him with a face full of reproach. Wu Jiantao, what? Do you want? Yes, I owe you, but didn't you also make 3 requests? That's right, then consider this as my 3rd request. Wu Jiantao stared at her cherry lips with an aggressive gaze. Let me kiss you. Chen Jun blushed immediately and said shyly, why do you keep harping on this? Is that what you think? No, you are wrong, Wu Jiantao said solemnly with a serious expression. This is not a question of whether I want to or not. Chen Jun, it's not a question of whether you want to or not. Could it be my problem? During this period of time, I have summarized our relationship. Look, we have children, and they are twins, a boy and a girl. So our relationship now is one of getting on the bus first and buying the ticket later, right? There seemed to be nothing wrong with this statement. She nodded seriously. Yes, you are right. Then the question is, who invited whom to get on the car and then welded the door shut? Chen Jun. Wu Jiantao was confident and righteous. There is no doubt that this person is you. So I'm kissing you now just to make up for it with you. Any questions? No questions. At this moment, Chen Jun was a little confused. No buts Ning, just think about it carefully, is this the truth? With her head tilted, the girl who used to be a serious, argumentative person actually started to think seriously, sorting out the logical order and cause and effect relationship. It seems, it is indeed my problem. Chen Jun always felt that something was wrong, but as she thought about it, her infinitely beautiful face turned red for a long time. Well, all right then. The girl blushed and finally said this. The next moment, Wu Jiantao was overjoyed, but he forced himself to control his expression, not letting his surprise show at all. He had originally thought that he would try his luck, but he didn't think. No need to explain. This is a surprise. You close your eyes. No, I just want to look at you. Watching her slowly, little by little approaching, Wu Jiantao could clearly feel the warm, light breath spreading from her rosy face, a fresh breath with a hint of frankincense. Finally, their lips touched, very soft and gentle, like the sweetest fruit. Wu Jiantao just subconsciously reached out his hand, but the girl was like a dragonfly touching the water. After just a light touch, she immediately stood up and turned away. With a slight smile, Wu Jiantao stood up and moved closer, but she immediately put down her bowl and chopsticks and took a step to the side, her face still flushed with a frightening blush, and said angrily, You're a dog, what else do you want to do? It's okay. Wu Jiantao was satisfied and stopped talking. I'll wash it, you go and look after the baby. As they were talking, suddenly 2 loud cries were heard from the master bedroom. Immediately, the 2 of them put down their bowls and chopsticks, wiped their hands, turned around and ran over. Mom is coming, Mom is coming. Upon hearing the crying sound, Chen Jun felt as if his heart was grabbed by an invisible hand. He felt extremely uncomfortable until he picked up the baby, and then he felt much more at ease. In the bedroom, Daodu and Maya Mio cried extremely hard as soon as they woke up. Chen Jun could only hug the younger sister Daodu, who had a worse temper, while Wu Jiantao hugged the older brother Maya Mio, who had always made them feel more peaceful and stable. But for some reason, my brother Maya Mio was different today. He cried a little harder and even struggled hard in his father's arms, as if he was in great pain. Wu Jiantao was heartbroken. He sat down with Maya Mio in his arms and gently soothed his back, but he still kept crying. Before, as long as I picked up the baby, he would immediately calm down, but now the baby is crying for some reason. Bring your brother here, I'll feed him. Soon, with the comfort of Chen Jun's milk, the two babies calmed down. They stared at the two new parents in the crib for a while, then opened their mouths with their parents and occasionally made one or two meaningless babbling sounds. Since they were awake anyway, Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun each took one of the babies, turned them over, and let them lie on their stomachs to start training them to lift their heads. The training for the two babies to lift their heads actually started a week ago. At the beginning, they could only lift it up for a moment and then put it down, and they didn't have much strength. But now, both Daodu and Maya Mio can lift it up and hold it for a while before putting it down again. 1-month-old babies can generally lift their heads, but the time they can do so is not long, usually about 5 seconds. As the training progresses, the time they can keep their heads lifted will gradually increase. When training the two babies to lift their heads, Chen Jun, who is always meticulous and serious, even made a timetable. After a week of training, Daodu's sister can keep her head up for 7.8 seconds, while Maya Mio's can keep her head up for a shorter time, which is 7.4 seconds. Tell me, did the nurse take the two babies in the wrong order when they came out? Wu Jiantao couldn't help but complain. Chen Jun, who was standing next to him, was stunned. She turned around to look at him, not knowing what was going on. She saw him shaking his head and continuing to explain. I really feel that Daodu should have come out first and then Maya Mio. You see, whether it's appetite, height, weight, or physical fitness, it's obvious that Sister Daodu is better than Brother Maya Mio. Chen Jun thought about it carefully and suddenly felt a little bit amused. It seems to be true. At the beginning, Daodu and Maya Mio were no different in weight and height, but as they grew older, their differences and gaps became bigger. After feeding, the two little angels played with them very energetically for nearly 2 hours before falling asleep again. Although a 1-month-old baby does not sleep almost all day like a newborn, he still needs at least 18 hours of sleep a day. It was the first time for them to take care of the babies, and neither Chen Jun nor Wu Jiantao realized that the two babies crying at noon was unusual. That night, something happened that made Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun collapse. Well. The two babies woke up almost constantly and cried very loudly when they woke up. The two new parents were a little flustered for a while. The first update is on the shelves, and there will be at least 5 updates today, tilde. Chapter 111. The top student takes care of the baby, 2-5. Chapter 111. A top student takes care of a child, 25. Many people may think that if the baby keeps crying, wouldn't it be better to just feed him? If only it were that simple. The key is that with the current appetite of the two babies, Chen Jun can only feed them once every 3 or 4 hours. She cannot feed them too often, otherwise the baby's stomachs are not strong enough to bear it. Overfeeding because of the baby's crying may cause gastrointestinal bloating and even functional impairment. At night, the two babies kept crying. Chen Jun comforted them by breastfeeding. Soon, Daodu and Maya Mio began to spit up milk to varying degrees. Xiaojun, you can't feed them anymore. The babies still don't know when they are hungry or full, and their stomachs can't handle it if you continue to feed them like this. Wu Jiantao was keenly aware of this problem, and Chen Jun, who encountered this situation for the first time, felt distressed, but did not dare to hold the babies, because as soon as she held them, the two babies would instinctively go to the granary for feeding. If you don't let them eat, they will cry even harder. But if you feed them at this time, the baby will become restless due to bloating, and will not only find it difficult to fall asleep, but will also cry incessantly. This creates a vicious cycle. Chen Jun then realized that, although breastfeeding was possible to comfort the baby, it should not be done too frequently. Then, what should we do then? The new mother felt very uncomfortable watching the babies crying until their faces turned red and purple. But Wu Jiantao had no other options, so he picked up the babies in each hand, stood up and walked around the room. There was no other way. Even though before Wu Ma left, she specifically told him that it is best not to pick up the baby and walk around when he is crying. Otherwise, the baby will easily become dependent, and then you will be the only one who will be tired. But now, Wu Jiangtao really had no other way to calm the baby down, except to hold him in his arms. Because he had just fed the two babies too much milk, Wu Jiangtao didn't hold them in a lying position, but instead let them lie on his chest, one on each side with their chins resting on his shoulders. There is no other way. The two babies have just drunk too much milk. If they are held horizontally, they will only feel bloated and uncomfortable. Only by holding them vertically will they feel better. On the other side, Chen Jun turned around, turned on the desk lamp, sat down at the desk and began to look through the books and materials on the bookshelf. What are you looking for? I'm looking for information on how to soothe a crying baby. Wu Jiangtao, is this the unique way for a top student to raise a child? Soon, Chen Jun found the relevant information and began to read it while talking confidently. Last year, when I first knew I was pregnant, I specially studied a lot of information about pregnancy and childbirth, some of which was about the instinct of newborn babies crying. Soon, Chen Jun found a scientific paper from the materials about why newborn babies cry and how to calm them down. This article begins with human primitive instincts and collects some past discoveries and experimental data of scientists on the instincts of newborns. A baby's crying is an instinct rooted in human genes, because a baby who can't cry will never live to adulthood. Compared to most animals in nature that can run and jump from birth, and even survive independently away from their parents, human newborns are too fragile. It takes up to a year for the baby to grow to the point where it can stand, and the subsequent childhood development period is as long as 10 to 13 years. It needs to grow until puberty to have the ability to survive independently. Before that, it is basically a useless thing that only knows how to eat. Therefore, during these 10 years of development, if newborn babies and older children encounter any danger, the best thing to do is to cry and call the adults over. As long as the adults come, nothing in nature can stop these terrifying upright apes that can start fires, make weapons, know how to fight in coordination, and have a high degree of tacit cooperation. At the same time, the crying of a baby is extremely harmful to all adults. All parents get anxious when they hear their baby cry, and you have a strong instinctive urge to pick up your child. A baby's crying can give parents special stimulation, causing their heart rate to accelerate, their blood pressure to rise, and they will feel very uncomfortable from the bottom of their souls. Babies have instincts, and so do parents and even adults. Even if a single person hears a baby crying, he will immediately feel uncomfortable and become restless. If he knows where the crying baby's parents are, he will definitely notify them immediately. Even if he can't find the baby's parents, he will definitely pick up the baby driven by instinct. No matter what the result is, the baby's crying ultimately achieves its purpose. So how do you calm a crying baby? The most effective way, just hold the baby in your arms and walk around. As long as the parents or the single dog holding the baby does this, the baby will calm down driven by instinct. The instinct that has been implanted deep in the human genes during millions of years of reproduction and survival. First, crying. When a baby is in danger, he or she will cry instinctively, which can attract the rescue of parents in the first time. Second, they will immediately calm down when being carried and moved around. This is because when the parents are already holding the baby on the way to migration, the baby's crying will have no effect and will reduce its chances of survival. So when parents pick up their babies and walk them, all the babies will calm down immediately, almost instantly. Just like when you pet a cat, if you pinch the flesh on the back of its neck, the cat's whole body will immediately become stiff, no matter how old it is. This magical phenomenon that newborn babies will calm down when they are held and walked has attracted the attention of scientists. They conducted research on newborns and found that when they were held by their mothers while sitting and walking, their movements, crying behaviors, and even electrocardiograms underwent obvious and drastic changes. The most interesting thing is that this instinct acquired over countless years actually affects the baby in the belly from the outside to the inside. That is, when a mother is pregnant, if the baby in her belly moves too strongly, then as long as the mother stands up and walks around, the baby in her belly will immediately calm down. In addition to the instinctive crying and the instinctive quieting down when carried, babies have many other interesting instincts. However, Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao did not further review and discuss the relevant materials. Instead, they directly conducted an in-depth and detailed review and discussion on the part of babies crying. First of all, we can rule out the possibility that Daodu and Mayo Miao's crying at night is caused by health problems. Chen Jun said, "Today at the second hospital, The doctor who conducted the physical examination said that both babies are developing well and are in good health, so this is unlikely to be the case. Secondly, it should have nothing to do with us. It's just that we neglected it. In fact, the baby started crying because he was uncomfortable. It should have started when he woke up for the first time after we came back. Wu Jiantao nodded involuntarily. He had to admit that he had a wife who was a genius student. Well, it was good to be the baby's mother. This analysis was quite accurate. Chapter 112, 35. Chapter 112, 35. Third, and most importantly, what is the root cause of the baby's crying since this afternoon? Why do they have to be picked up and walked around before they can calm down? On this point, Chen Jun hit the nail on the head. A baby will not cry if he is not thirsty, hungry, or uncomfortable, and his parents are around to provide a sense of security. There must be a reason for his crying. Babies cry when something happens, and when parents hear them crying, they will immediately try every means to make the baby stop crying. These two are instincts given by evolution. The combination of these two instincts has allowed human beings to survive to this day. By the way, if new parents find that the baby is still crying when they are holding him and walking around, and the crying is getting more and more intense, there must be a major reason. If there are no experienced elders around who can give accurate judgments and comfort the baby in a short time, the best way for new parents to deal with it is to immediately take the baby to the emergency room of a large hospital for further examination. It should be today's vaccination. Wu Jiantao thought about it carefully. Well, it's very possible. From birth to now, Daodu and Miao have been well taken care of by you and me, but today they experienced pain for the first time in their lives. Chen Jun pondered and said, if this is true, then their crying now is more due to psychological discomfort. This kind of pain that they have never experienced before must have left them with a great psychological trauma. Yes, Wu Jiantao nodded seriously. Then we need to determine the size of their psychological shadows now. Chen Jun rolled his eyes at him in reproach and ignored his joke. The key point now is, given the state of the two babies, how can we completely calm them down? How about we try it first? Wu Jiantao suddenly had an idea. Try it, Chen Jun thought for a moment, and immediately understood what he wanted to do. Do you want to experiment on how long it takes to pick up the baby and walk around before putting him down? Wu Jiantao. No, he said quickly. I just want to try to hold them and walk around for a while and then put them down after they fall asleep. No, that's not enough. Chen Jun shook his head, took out a pen and paper, and drew on it. He quickly made a simple table. I think the most important thing when you hold the two babies and walk around is to calculate through experiments how long the two babies will sleep soundly and not wake up and make a fuss after being put in the baby bed. Huh, good. Wu Jiantao was stunned at first, but after thinking about it carefully, he couldn't help clapping his legs and exclaiming, what a good idea. This way I can ensure that I can coax Daodu and Miao at once without having to go back and forth with them. Chen Jun blushed and pinched him. Why are you patting my leg? Business was the priority. She wrote down 10 minutes in the first column of the form with a serious look on her face. To be on the safe side, let's set the length of time you hold the baby for the first time to 10 minutes. Good. Immediately, when Wu Jiantao was about to start walking with the baby in his arms, Chen Jun in front of him suddenly said, wait a minute. Then we have to put the babies down first. Didn't Ning just carry them for a while? This is the only way to be more rigorous. Oh yes, I need to clear the time cache that I just held in my arms. Wu Jiantao said he understood and felt he got Chen Jun's logic and immediately put the two babies on the baby beds without mercy. Although he vaguely felt that something was wrong, he was indeed a genius, and his way of coaxing and raising a child must be unique. Woo wow, woo wow. Almost as soon as they were put down, Daodu and Miao started crying loudly. Wu Jiantao quickly picked up the two babies in his arms and started walking back and forth. As soon as he picked them up and started walking around, the two babies immediately became well-behaved. Soon, 10 minutes later, Wu Jiantao put down the two babies. Daodu and Miao continued to cry without any hesitation. Woo-eh. He immediately picked up the two babies and started walking around. Daodu and Miao. Well, the second time the duration was extended to 15 minutes, and Wu Jiantao put down two more babies. Daodu and Miao. Woo wow wow. There was no other choice. Wu Jiantao had to pick up the two babies again and continue swimming. Daodu and Miao. The third time, the duration reached 20 minutes, and Wu Jiantao was a little overwhelmed because the two babies burst into tears as soon as he put them down. Why does it seem like it's getting more severe each time? He could only pick it up again immediately and continue walking. Daodu and Miao. Have these parents been so naughty since they were young, and have they been so deceiving to their son and daughter? Is this okay? This is not good. Wu Jiangtao, Chen Jun, such a scientific and good method cannot be shaken, cannot be shaken. We must measure the length of time that the two babies can sleep soundly while walking. Lord, Chen Jun gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, Jiang Tao, don't add 5 minutes at a time this time. Add 10 minutes at a time and hold them for 30 minutes to try. Wu Jiangtao, has this child been so considerate to give his father a chance to lose weight since he was young? He really wants to tell the two babies. No need, really no need. Kids, don't worry about your dad's 8-pack abs. Let's be honest and sincere. You should worry more about whether your buttocks will be thick enough when you grow up. Have to. Wu Jiangtao, with Azure Dragon on the left and White Tiger on the right. It was Zhu Daodu, who was walking back and forth beside the bed in the bedroom, yawning as he walked. After waiting for 30 minutes, he finally turned around and tiptoed to the baby's bed and gently put them down. Zzz. Finally, these two big babies didn't wake up and cry as soon as they were put down. This time, they finally slept quite soundly and peacefully. Wu Jiangtao watched them and thought, well, they are so cute. He didn't feel like he was looking at little devils just now. Very good, the time length has been measured. It is 30 minutes. Huh? Wu Jiangtao raised his head and yawned, feeling extremely sleepy. He glanced at the time. It was almost 3 in the morning. No wonder he was so sleepy. He quickly lay down on the bed and put his hands to the side. Fragrant, soft, and comfortable. Sleepy. But soon, Wu Jiangtao seemed to hear a call from the distant horizon. Wake up, wake up. Jiangtao, wake up, the baby is crying again. His whole brain was shaken back and forth by someone, and he finally opened his eyes with great difficulty, only to see an infinitely beautiful face, looking at him with an angry look. Jiangtao, go and pick up the babies. They have woken up and are crying again. Chapter 113 Oua, 4-5. Chapter 113 Oua. Wu Jiangtao got up from the bed in a daze, picked up the two little ancestors, and walked around the room subconsciously, while Chen Jun beside him shouted, Wait a minute, you haven't checked the time yet. Set it to 30 minutes. Otherwise, if you forget the time later, they will probably get up and make a fuss again. He was so sleepy that he tried hard to open his eyes and glanced at the screen of the phone that Chen Jun handed over. 0405. So I've only slept for more than an hour the whole night. Wu Jiangtao opened his eyes wide and felt his whole body numb, really numb. Daodu mio, you guys can't be so mean to me. At least let me, your father, get a good night's sleep. He was really a little overwhelmed at this time, but he turned around and looked at Chen Jun, who was sleeping soundly beside him. He decided not to disturb her. He could only walk back and forth in the room holding the two babies who would immediately become quiet when they moved. Well, neither Wu Jiangtao nor Chen Jun, who was sleeping soundly on the bed, noticed that these two big babies cried for a little longer when they were picked up and walked around. 0435. The time has finally come. Wu Jiangtao looked at the two cute little ancestors sleeping soundly in his arms and gently put them on the baby bed. The two babies seemed to be sleeping soundly. Call, not awake. He let out a long breath. Great, she is indeed our baby's mother. She is logical, clear-minded, and reliable. At this moment, he was really thankful. He turned around and lay on the bed. He just squinted his eyes. What? Before he fell asleep, two extremely loud cries made him stunned for a moment. Heaven, oh earth, help ah! Wu Jiangtao covered his forehead in pain and rolled off the bed. He didn't even bother to put on his slippers. He went straight to the baby's bed and picked up Daodu and Mio. But this time, when he picked them up and started walking, he finally realized something was wrong. Before, the baby would immediately quiet down as soon as he moved around. But this time, when he was holding the baby and walking around, although the baby's crying suddenly became quieter, the baby was still crying. Oh, don't cry, don't cry. Wu Jiangtao hurriedly held the baby and walked around while rocking him gently. Soon, the baby gradually calmed down, but he always felt that something was wrong. He felt as if he might have missed a key link. The baby is awake again. On the bed, Chen Jun was finally woken up. She turned over and sat up. Suddenly, she frowned and said in a daze, Jiangtao, put the baby down and bring the breast pump over here. I'm a little swollen. The next moment, both of them woke up and turned to look at each other. Zyrajan, how long has it been since you fed the baby? That. Let me think about it. I fed her once around 10 before going to bed, once a little after 12, and once again a little after 1. And then. Speaking of this, Chen Jun looked embarrassed. In other words, it's almost 5 o'clock now, and I haven't fed the two babies yet. Oh, they haven't eaten for nearly 4 hours. It's strange that they are not crying. Wu Jiangtao felt terrible. It turned out that when the baby woke up around 4 o'clock, It was not because of pain or any other reason, but because he was just hungry. Dowdu and Mayamil, I'm hungry, He quickly placed the babies in Chen Jun's arms, one on each side. As soon as they entered the familiar arms, the two babies immediately moved to the upper side of her arms with great precision. Poor baby. Look at the way he eats. He must be very hungry. Wu Jiantao didn't sleep either. He just sat there quietly, staring at the girl in front of him, looking at her. Chen Jun finally got angry and said with anger in her beautiful eyes, "Oh, I just forgot. Don't be angry. I apologize. I'm sorry. Lord Ning is magnanimous. Don't hold it against a new mother like me, tilde. Ning's apology is insincere. There is no sincerity at all. I want sincerity." Wu Jiantao took advantage of the situation to rob. Chen Jun, why does this sentence sound so familiar? Soon, the two babies were well fed and drank, and fell asleep peacefully in the crib. Then Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun. After a good meal, Wu Jiantao finally got up contentedly, tidied his clothes, turned around and went to the bathroom holding his pants. On the bed, Chen Jun, who saw this scene, had a red face, full of anger and embarrassment. Even though she had done this before, now that they were familiar with each other, this soft girl was quite embarrassed. The shame in her heart kept coming out, especially since Wu Jiantao would tease her about this from time to time. Every time she was so embarrassed. If the last kick had not left a painful impression on her, she would definitely kick someone again. And every time Wu Jiantao faced her, he would subconsciously raise his foot to kick her, but he would not dodge or evade, just look at her with a smile. Ning should try and see. Summer mornings always get bright early. It's not even 6 o'clock yet, but the whole sky is already bright. Based on someone's pain, Chen Jun slept well last night and got up early. As for that person, he had hardly slept the whole night and was now lying on the bed, sleeping soundly. It's not that Wu Jiantao can't get up. He just wanted to make breakfast, but Chen Jun said, "Ning worked hard last night, so Ning should sleep a little longer and I will make breakfast." "That's fine." Wu Jiantao didn't hesitate and just climbed onto the bed and pounced on her. The girl immediately got up with a look of anger on her face, slapped him, and turned to leave the room. If you are not allowed to bite, then don't bite. It is wrong to hit people. It is a bad habit. Wu Jiantao turned around and glanced at the two little ancestors in the baby bed next to him. Seeing that they were sleeping soundly, he could only lie down. Forget it, he would settle this account later. As he was thinking, he fell into a deep sleep just like Dowdu Mayamil beside him. On the other side, Chen Jun fried 4 or 5 eggs, took out some red steamed buns and soup dumplings from the freezer, and put them in the steamer above the pot filled with water. After doing all this, she looked at the time and turned to the master bedroom. As soon as I entered the room, I saw the baby's bed and Wu Jiantao's appearance on the bed, and I couldn't help but be stunned. But Dowdu and Mayamil were lying down, with their hands on either side of their heads. On the big bed, Wu Jiantao was also lying there with his hands on either side of his head. Well, the sleeping positions of the two babies and their dad are surprisingly the same. Chapter 114, Let's Have a Fight, 5-5. Chapter 114, Let's Have a Fight, 55. Chen Jun was stunned by this miraculous phenomenon. This was the first time she had seen it. She was immediately filled with surprise. Haha, that's so funny. She couldn't help but take out her cell phone and took several horizontal photos of the baby and the father. She couldn't help but smile. Is this synchronization between the father and the baby? After doing all this, Chen Jun walked forward with a scolding look and covered Wu Jiantao with a quilt. Well, even though the weather is hot now, the stomach still needs to be covered. Otherwise, the stomach will catch a cold. Even if you don't catch a cold or fever, you will easily get a stomach upset. Especially in summer, food is always a mixture of hot and cold, and the stomach and intestines are basically working at full power or even overloaded, which can easily cause gastrointestinal discomfort. Well, apart from this reason, it's a little hard for her to accept, so she'd better cover it up. Only, she had just pulled the blanket over and hadn't had time to cover him up yet. But Wu Jiantao moved, and then he couldn't help shivering. Is this a cold? Chen Jun was a little confused and didn't react for a while Wu Jiantao also woke up very happily. Oh my God, it actually happened. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw Chen Jun standing in front of him. He turned around subconsciously and stared at the girl with some caution. What did Ning do to me again? Chen Jun hadn't realized what was going on yet, and became even more confused after hearing these words. He looked at this guy in bewilderment as he looked at him warily. Me, what can I do to you? I didn't do anything. You didn't do anything to make me like this. Like this, how is this? That's it. What's going on? Wu Jiantao, what are you talking about? Wu Jiantao finally understood that this time he had nothing to do with her. It was just that in the past few days, They had slept in the same bed. Every night they slept together. It was because Chen Jun's body had just come out of confinement and couldn't do that yet. Otherwise, she would have fallen into the tiger's mouth. Therefore, Wu Jiantao felt a little uncomfortable. After all, he was a normal man and a warrior with stronger blood, which caused this in the morning. Zairaj and Ning, please go out for a while. At this moment, Chen Jun saw with great surprise that someone who had gradually revealed his gangster nature in recent days actually had shame and uneasiness on his face. Faced with this situation, this scene, and this expression, can we leave? Not only did she not leave, but she immediately raised her phone and took several photos. In the first photo, the expression on someone's face is a bit dull. In the second photo, the expression on someone's face is one of shock. In the third photo, the expression on someone's face is shame. In the fourth photo, his face was already red, and he was already full of anger. With the photos he took in succession, Chen Jun clearly saw the changes in Wu Jiantao's facial expression. He couldn't help laughing and laughed so hard that his body was shaking with joy. Ning, what's wrong? I just took a few photos. Wow, you evil monster, prepare to die. Wu Jiantao didn't care about anything else and rushed over with a roar. Give me your phone and delete the photos. No, delete it. I don't want to. Seeing that reasoning was not working, Wu Jiantao took action directly, and the two of them got into a fight. In the end, the phone in his hand was snatched away by someone, but Chen Jun lay on the bed with a look of reproach on her face. In the midst of the commotion, a thrilling blush crept up on her face unconsciously. She was not a novice who knew nothing. She had realized it at this time. Thinking back to the beginning, she had smelled the smell of heather. She washed her hands for several days in a row and finally got rid of the psychological shadow. Get up, didn't you take your phone? Chen Jun felt a little ashamed. It turned out that what someone just said was true. Unlock it. Wu Jiantao took the phone angrily. Don't want. She rolled her eyes at him. Thanks. The phone was successfully unlocked. Wu Jiantao clicked on the photos on the phone page and deleted and completely cleared the ones that showed himself wet. This didn't matter in front of Chen Jun, but if any of them were accidentally leaked, it would be a huge social death scene for him. There are only other photos of myself with shame and anger on my face. Anyway, I have no shame, so it doesn't matter whether I delete these or not. Get out of the way, it's so dirty. Chen Jun struggled again, and Wu Jiantao angrily threw someone's phone aside, staring at her with a wicked smile. Scream, scream. Even if you scream your throat out, no one will come to save you. 10 minutes later, Chen Jun's face flushed red, and she twisted him hard several times while Wu Jiantao grimaced in pain, but he felt regretful in his heart. Well, it will take at least 3 months, especially for pregnant women who had cesarean sections and whose bodies haven't recovered yet. It will take at least half a year. He looked at the girl with a face full of embarrassment. Although her body had recovered very well, it had only been a little over a month since the cesarean section. He still had to wait. If it had been 3 months and the situation just now was like that, then he must be punished according to the law and executed on the spot. After walking to the baby's bed and taking a look at the 2 babies sleeping soundly, Chen Jun turned around and was about to leave the room, but someone in the bathroom suddenly said, Zairaj, you should come and help me wash my underwear. Why? Her beautiful, long eyebrows raised up, and she turned around and retorted, It's all because of you that I'm like this. Chen Jun laughed in anger, turned around and went into the bathroom. She subconsciously raised her foot to kick him, but she didn't know what she thought of. She put her foot down again and scolded him with shame and anger on her face. That's your own fault. It's so early in the morning and even your dreams are restless. I don't know what you're thinking about all day. You big pervert, you stinky hooligan. Don't try to deny it. Wu Jiantao squatted on the ground, rubbing his underwear, and turned to look at her angrily, cursing fiercely. If you weren't so beautiful with such a good figure and so soft when I hug you, how could I be like this? It's all your fault. It's because of you. Chen Jun was speechless for a moment. He felt inexplicably relieved and happy in his heart, but at the same time he looked stunned. He didn't know how to retort. What are you talking about? If you keep staring at me with those pretty eyes, I won't be polite. Wu Jiantao suddenly stood up and rushed over angrily. Chen Jun immediately turned around like a frightened deer and ran away. Please give me a monthly ticket, Tilda, don't give me a reward. I don't have much manuscripts left, and I can't afford to update more. Chapter 115. Continue to quarrel, please vote for me and subscribe. When Chen Jun ran to the gate, he heard an angry roar from someone behind him. Humph, just because you're good-looking is not a big deal. Come on, try to scold me again, I'll scold you back. Not to mention that this girl is not good at quarreling. This kind of unique quarreling style is the first time she has seen it. The thin-faced girl said, "We can't win the argument. We can't win the argument. We really can't win." After washing 2 pairs of trousers, Wu Jiantao left the bedroom angrily and came to the dining room. Before Chen Jun said anything, he snorted fiercely and sat down. The way he looked at her made the girl laugh. "Can you please stop being angry and sit down and have a good breakfast?" "Cannot." Wu Jiantao took a bite of the fried egg in front of him, then suddenly looked up and glared at Chen Jun with hatred, scaring her. He said angrily, "Are you trying to bribe me by making such delicious food? You are wrong. Do you think I am not that kind of person? I want to tell you, I am such a bribable person. What do you think? Are you scared?" Bang! Chen Jun couldn't stand it anymore and slapped the table. "Wu Jiantaning is a jerk. You can praise him all you want, but can you talk and eat properly? You're so jumpy." Wu Jiantao suddenly fell silent and looked at her quietly for more than 10 minutes. Just when the girl was puzzled, she saw this guy suddenly smile and said, "Okay, I'll eat well, I'll eat well." "Chen Jun, is this guy a wolf? When you say grin, you grin. When you say laugh, you laugh." The eggs were obviously overcooked, but they were not mushy and just the right amount of crispy. "I made my own soup dumplings with soy milk blended in a wall breaker. The breakfast was delicious and nutritious." But Wu Jiantao had just finished his meal. He didn't sleep much last night and had something else this morning. He couldn't help but yawn again. He stood on the balcony slowly to nourish his energy. At the same time, he said to the girl who was also doing yoga on the balcony, "I don't think something is right about the current situation of Daodu and Mayo Mio. I'm wondering if I should take them to the hospital." "No." Chen Jun, who was gently stretching her body to a bend that was difficult for ordinary people to achieve and was slowly warming up to practice yoga, said calmly, "I just contacted Director Zai from the second hospital. She said that the baby just felt pain and was frightened because of the first injection. She asked us to comfort them, and they will be fine in 2 days." "Oh." Wu Jiantao immediately became interested. "How did you tell Director Zai?" "What?" The time went back to more than half an hour ago. After Chen Jun made breakfast, he first checked the time to make sure that the second hospital had opened for business. Then he found the business card of the doctor who had examined him and his baby and dialed her number directly. "Hello, Director Zai. I am Chen Jun, who brought my twin babies to your hospital for a physical examination." "Oh, it's you. I remember you. Hello, what's wrong?" "It's like this. We just came back yesterday, and the baby couldn't sleep well from the afternoon to the evening. He was fine during the day, but he cried all night at night. Haha, this is very normal. It's probably the first time the baby has had an injection and he's felt pain and got a little scared. He'll be fine in a couple of days. If you're really worried, you can bring your baby here and let me take a look. By the way, it's best not to give your baby any folk remedies to calm him down." "What is Jingmo?" "Well, Jingmo is also called Kinglumo, although many older generations like to use it to calm newborns. This product is not a drug approved by the country. It may be very effective, but it is also likely to have a bad effect on the baby. If the situation is really serious, you can try Jingfeng powder and other drugs approved by our country. At least this will not have a very bad impact on the baby's health." "Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Director Zai." "Haha, no need to thank me. No need to thank me. I've seen this happen a lot. I've also seen many confused parents give their babies medicine at random, which hurts their babies' bodies. You called me during my working hours, so I guess that you're probably in the same situation." "Well, actually, I have also done some research on baby crying." "Oh." Suddenly, Director Zai became interested. Previously, during the physical examination in the clinic, she learned from the conversation that this girl was a master's student at M University and was very extraordinary. "You say?" So Chen Jun talked about several experimental data and comprehensive analyses on the instincts of newborns that he had read. They were basically the same as what he had talked about with Wu Jiantao last night, but more detailed and comprehensive. Now it seems that newborn babies like Daodu and Mayo Mio at this stage generally won't cry unless they are thirsty, hungry, or feeling uncomfortable, as long as their parents are around to provide a sense of security. Chen Jun said a lot and finally concluded, "I have combined these relevant papers and articles, and the conclusion I came to is that the baby's crying is an instinct. Under the premise that the baby is not physically sick, the baby's crying due to being frightened can be soothed by caressing, feeding, and carrying." Director Zai was stunned on the other end of the phone. Although she had been engaged in gynecology for more than 20 years, she had never thought about parenting and dealing with babies crying from this unique perspective. Chen Jun's words opened up another whole new dimension for her. Babies cry when something happens, and when parents hear them crying, they will immediately try every means to make the baby stop crying. These two are instincts given by evolution. "Is it instinct?" Very interesting dimension of thinking. It seems that I should look for the papers that the girl mentioned. Perhaps they can provide me with a new perspective on newborn medical care. Director Zai, you just said that the baby is still too young now, so it's best not to use any medicine, otherwise it will have a bad effect on the baby's stomach and body. So this is what I think. In the next few days, whether it is day or night, I will hold the baby as much as possible and walk around. Even when he is not crying or making a fuss, I will hold him and give him enough sense of security. In this way, I think their frightened physical and mental state should disappear soon. Of course, this is just my personal understanding and inference. What do you think? I feel great. You are the most independent thinker among all the new mothers I have ever met. Okay, I approve of your thoughts and conclusions, as well as your treatment plan for your baby's current state of fright. After hearing this, Chen Jun felt a little embarrassed and kept saying that he just liked to think more and was not that great. Director Zai laughed and said, Xiaojun, you are too modest. I am sure that if we adopt your treatment plan, the baby will only cry for 1 or 2 days and will get better quickly without taking medicine. Take good care of the baby. Well, thank you, Director Zai. I'm sorry to have wasted your precious time. Haha, no, I also benefited a lot from it. What? The results did not meet expectations. E=O, alas. Chapter 116, Going Out for Fun. Please subscribe and vote tilde. On the other side, Director Zai of the Obstetrics and Gynecology Department of the Second Hospital of City F had just arrived at his clinic and sat down when a young couple walked in from outside the door. The wife was holding a crying baby in her arms, and there was an elderly woman with her. As soon as they entered the door, the old woman scolded the young couple into satisfaction. I reminded you a long time ago that you should not pick up the baby as soon as he cries. Don't pick him up immediately. This will make the baby dependent. Now, even if he is a little uncomfortable, you have to pick him up and walk away for him to be quiet. Aren't you the ones who are tormented? The husband looked depressed and silent, while the young wife also looked aggrieved, but she did not dare to refute her mother-in-law. After all, it was their fault for not taking good care of the baby. Director Zai, please look at my little grandson. He has been crying for several nights in a row these days. No matter how I coax him, he won't sleep well and he keeps spitting up milk. Right from the start, the mother-in-law took absolute control of the conversation and spoke directly to Director Zai. Okay, let me see the baby first. As she said this, the mother-in-law turned around and couldn't help but scold her daughter-in-law. Why are you still holding the baby? Put it down. No. Director Zai smiled and waved his hand, asking the young mother to come to him with the baby in her arms. After a check, he found that the baby had some bloating and indigestion, so he smiled and said, The baby is fine except for a little bloating in the stomach. There is no problem. Next, you must strictly control the feeding time and don't let the baby eat too much. Otherwise, it will cause damage to the baby's stomach and intestines. Upon hearing this, the 3 adults on the opposite side all breathed a sigh of relief, but the grandmother immediately looked anxious. Director Zai, you see my little grandson has been crying these past few days. He is better during the day, but at night he can only sleep when I hold him and then cry when I put him down. He can't sleep well at all. If you can't let go, then hold on. But the baby will become dependent. It's not like that. Director Zai shook her head and said with a smile, Auntie, first of all, I need to correct a common-sense mistake of yours. The crying of a newborn is just an instinct. Many people think that taking care of the baby as soon as he cries will lead to the child's lack of independence. This is really overthinking. This is just driven by instinct. When the child grows up and enters adolescence, you will find another instinct, that is, independence, and he will do everything he can to leave his parents, and he can't be pulled back. Taking the baby's crying instinct and the child's independent instinct when he grows up and reaches adolescence as a reference, it can be said that what Director Zai said is well-founded and very convincing. The mother-in-law, she didn't quite understand what he said, but she was shocked. It turned out that she was not dependent. The baby is still so young, crying is just instinct. Therefore, we adults should follow the child's instinct when taking care of the baby. We should do what is appropriate for the child's stage and not go against instinct to do meaningless things which will lead to bad consequences. When the child cries, just hold him up and comfort him. It's okay to hold him and coax him to sleep. In this way, when the child grows up, he will follow nature and instinct, and he will be very cheerful and lively. The husband listened thoughtfully, and the wife's grievances were also vindicated. She knew she had done nothing wrong. It was right for me to pick up the child out of pity every time he cried. Director Zai, then what do you think we should do specifically? The mother-in-law still didn't quite understand. It's very simple. Hold the baby as much as possible. If the mother is tired, other people should also wrap the baby in the mother's clothes when holding the baby. This way the child can always feel the mother's breath, so that he will always have a sufficient sense of security. This will continue until the child's fright is completely calmed down and he will return to normal. Oh, so that's how it is. Okay, thank you, thank you. You're welcome. This is what I should do. There is one more thing you have to remember. If the baby still can't calm down after using this method, or even if the baby continues to cry when you pick him up and walk around, you must bring the baby to the hospital in time. Director Zai said very seriously. Generally speaking, a mother's arms can give babies the most sense of security. If a baby still cries in the mother's arms, it means that the baby must be very uncomfortable. You must pay attention to this and don't be afraid to see a doctor. You must see a doctor in time. Do you understand? Okay, I'll remember that. If this happens, I will definitely bring the baby to the hospital in time. The new father nodded solemnly and finally spoke. It has to be said that Director Zai is worthy of being an experienced doctor who has been engaged in obstetrics and gynecology for 20 to 30 years. Through the communication with Chen Jun just now, he has learned from it and has more unique insights on the instinctive soothing treatment based on the baby's crying. Here, today you hold your brother Mio Mio, and I'll hold my sister Daodu. In 903 of Yunlu Garden, Wu Jiantao looked at Chen Jun with some confusion as he took out a piece of clothing he had worn recently, wrapped it around his brother Mio Mio's blanket, and then handed it to his arms. You are going to... Today we can't let the baby sleep in the crib by himself. He must be held as much as possible. Even if you go to the kitchen to cook, you must carry him in a baby carrier. Daodu and Mio Mio are frightened now, so they are crying instinctively, seeking our comfort. The only thing we can do now is to give them as much sense of security and pleasure as possible according to their needs, so that the fright they have suffered will disappear as quickly as possible, and they will return to the state before the vaccination. Oh, then you wrap Mio Mio with your clothes. Chen Jun looked at him seriously and said, Babies are very attached to their mothers. This is an instinct that can greatly increase their chances of survival. And scientists' various experimental data have also confirmed that clothes with the scent of mothers can obviously bring pleasure and a sense of security to babies. Wu Jiantao nodded seriously. So that's how it is, I understand. He took his brother Mio Mio and held him in his arms very skillfully, only to see that this little scoundrel who had made him upset all night yesterday. Oh, no. It's the little angel who was sticking out his little head and rubbing it on his mother's clothes. His brows no longer had the traces of crying from last night, but were relaxed, and he seemed very comfortable. Actually, I don't think it's necessary for Ning to wrap Mio Mio in another layer of your clothes. Wu Jiantao suddenly said. Ah, Chen Jun turned around and looked at him puzzledly. Why? The scientific experimental data in the paper we read before are very reliable and true. Chapter 117. All the pretty ones are young ladies. Tilda, please read and vote for me. Look, we kissed each other. Wu Jiantao pouted as he spoke. We also snuggled up to each other to sleep at night. Don't I smell like Ning? Wu Jiantao, shut up. Before he could finish his words, Chen Jun on the opposite side had his face flushed red and was baring his teeth. If he hadn't just held Daodu in his arms, he would have pounced on him and bit him. Hadohato. Looking at the thin-skinned girl in front of him who couldn't stand being teased, Wu Jiantao smiled happily. Since you're going to hold me like this, why don't you just stay at home? Let's go out for a walk. Wu Jiantao had just made a suggestion when Chen Jun pointed at the packed travel backpack on the sofa and rolled her eyes at him. Do you even need to tell me that? Well, he held his brother Mio Mio in one hand, picked up the backpack with the other hand and put it on his back. Let's go, Tilda. The corners of Chen Jun's mouth curled up slightly, and it was obvious that he was looking forward to this rare trip. Where are we going? I haven't been to the Egret Park in the North Riverside for a long time. Beibanjiang is less than 20 minutes drive from here. The two of them arrived at the gate of the community, got on the special car they called, and soon arrived at the west gate of the park. The air is good, the sun is shining. I can take Daodu and Mio Mio for a walk along the Riverside Trail. Wu Jiantao nodded, and when he was about to go inside, he saw Chen Jun standing in front of the gate. He looked around and said to himself, Wait a minute, Xiaoshan and another colleague of mine are coming too. Xiaoshan is coming too. Wu Jiantao was a little surprised. Hasn't she been busy with her work at the Research Institute recently? Although today happens to be Saturday, the work of the two besties in the Research Institute is not as regular as working in an ordinary company. Even on weekends, they are often busy with some things in the Research Institute. It's not that they have to work overtime, but once the relevant research project work starts, it is difficult to extricate themselves from it with their body and mind invested. From this perspective, this is the biggest difference between a career that you love both physically and mentally, and a job that is detached from your body and mind. Well, the project she's working on has recently completed some phased experiments, so she can take a break for a while. Chen Jun smiled. The two of them just stood there, each holding a baby. People passing by the park gate kept looking over here. Chen Jun is really too beautiful, with clear eyes and eyebrows, a straight and delicate nose, and light cherry lips. Her overall facial features may not be considered stunning, but when combined, she gives people a pure and unique temperament like a lotus or an orchid in a valley, which is unforgettable. Wow, that sister is so beautiful. A little boy holding his mother's hand passed by, and his eyes widened immediately, staring at Chen Jun. After walking a little further, the mother, who was also very young and pretty, hummed softly, "What sister?" "That's Auntie." Maybe Chen Jun didn't hear it, but Wu Jiangtao heard it clearly. He smiled in his heart as the words sounded a bit sour. "Not Auntie." The little boy refuted on the spot, and he spoke quite loudly. Passers-by heard it and looked over there subconsciously, only to see the honest and lovely boy continue to say confidently, "Dad said that beautiful girls are all girls, not aunties." As soon as these words came out, the entire park gate fell silent. Everyone looked over with strange expressions, looking at this young mother. Oh boy! The face turned red, blue, and white, just like the face changing in Peking opera. The mother was so angry that her eyebrows stood up, and she raised her hand and slapped the bear kid's butt twice. Hitting people is wrong. Mommy is a stinky mom." The little boy burst into tears right away, crying in grievance. What was wrong with what his father said to him? The pretty one is the little sister. The young mother walked towards the park with her son by her hand, expressionless. At the same time, she picked up her phone and sent a voice message. "Wow, have you parked your car?" One can imagine what kind of storm the baby will face when his father comes over. After waiting here for about 10 minutes, Wu Jiangtao saw with his own eyes many couples, or mothers and fathers with children like them, passing by here, performing all kinds of joys and sorrows that were not shared by people. "Haha, here I come, here I come." From a distance, Li Xiaoshan, wearing a slim dress, walked towards them quickly. "Hey, where's Xiaobai? He's not here." Chen Jun asked. "She?" The bestie came closer to Daodu, who was lying in her mother's arms, and said, "She and her boyfriend are buying drinks in the back. She and I have opened a location-sharing app. Let's go first, and they will come over later." "Good." They then leisurely entered the park gate. As soon as they entered, they could see that there were quite a few people in the square, people coming and going. There were vendors selling all kinds of snacks on the side of the square, some selling hawthorn and syrup, and some selling toys or kites for children. The park was very large, and although there were many people, it was not very crowded, just a little noisy. They decided not to go to crowded places, but walked through the square from the edge, walked along the stone path between the lawns, and came to the walking path near the riverside. "I say, why do you each hold one?" Li Xiaoshan looked at Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun, feeling a little strange. "Wouldn't it be much easier to push the stroller out and put them down? Aren't you tired of holding them all the time? It's better to hold it like this." Chen Jun glanced at her best friend and didn't explain much. She was tired of seeing the two babies frightened and making a fuss. It was a long story, and she was too lazy to say more. "What about you? Why didn't you and Huang come with you this time?" "Hey, I get angry just talking about this," Li Xiaoshan said with a displeased look on her face. "We had agreed to come out together in the morning last night. I didn't even have time to put on makeup and asked him to come and wait, but at the last minute he stood me up. He told me that he had an urgent task and couldn't come. I'm so pissed." "What's there to be angry about? He works at the security bureau and is the captain of the security squad. It's understandable that he's busy with work. You're the same. I think you two are the same, so don't criticize each other." Li Xiaoshan. "Hey, where is Ning standing?" They walked along the riverside walking path. The big trees on both sides connected together to form a tree-lined avenue. The river breeze was blowing gently on my face. I looked up and saw that the entire river surface was sparkling in the sunshine at around 9 o'clock in the morning. Chapter 118, Daily Fights Between Besties. Please subscribe and give me a monthly ticket, Tilda. Walking along the beautiful riverside, they all felt relaxed and at ease. As they were walking, they heard two hurried footsteps from behind. Li Xiaoshan turned around and saw two familiar figures coming over and waving at them. "Here's here." "Long time no see, Chen Jun." The colleague from the research institute who came was a little fat, but compared to Chen Jun and Li Xiaoshan, he had a round face. He couldn't be said to be very pretty, but he wasn't ugly either. The young man next to him was tall and thin, wearing glasses, and looked very shy. "Haven't seen you for a long time." Chen Jun nodded at her and greeted her with a smile. "When are you going back to the institute? Our project team has been very busy lately, and we finally have a break these few days." The round-faced colleague complained bitterly as soon as he came up, while stroking his face. It's a pity that my beautiful face, which is so beautiful that it can make the moon ashamed, has become so haggard that it has become an ugly imitator. Bai Xiaoyuan calmed down. Li Xiaoshan, who was standing next to her, took the drink from her friend and said without giving any face, "You may have misunderstood the words beauty that can make the moon blush, and unparalleled beauty. You should at least be like me before you can say that about yourself." Like you. Bai Xiaoyuan rolled her eyes and started to argue. Li Xiaoshan, I can't believe you think so highly of yourself. Misunderstood, that's not what I meant. Li Xiaoshan waved her hands. I meant, Ning has to be as shameless as me to use such an adjective on herself. Bai Xiaoyuan choked up, and her boyfriend beside her couldn't help but burst out laughing. Immediately his girlfriend rolled her eyes at him, and Li Xiaoshan, Chen Jun, and Wu Jiangtao beside him all looked at him with sympathy. Take care, buddy. Oh, you are Wu Jiangtao, right? As soon as they met, this round-faced colleague started arguing with Li Xiaoshan for a while. After being defeated, he turned around and looked at Wu Jiangtao, looking him up and down with curiosity. You are well known in our institute. Wu Jiangtao, is it that there seems to be something wrong with the girl's use of idioms? Or is it that the Research Institute of M University is so large that its staff are spread all over China and abroad? Haha, it looks like he's also a pure young hunk. Bai Xiaoyuan laughed. Nice to meet you, I'm Bai Xiaoyuan. I'm a year older than Chen Jun, so I can be considered her senior. But she's more capable than me, so I don't dare let her call me that. Chen Jun rolled his eyes at her. When had he not called someone like that in the Research Institute? Besides, haha, Wu Jiangtao is a pure young man. What? After introducing themselves to each other, the man with glasses next to Bai Xiaoyuan was not a student of M University, but from the neighboring Southeast University of Science and Technology. He was also a top student, doing research and studying in a physics institute at the university. He was also a graduate student. He seemed to have made great achievements in academics, but he didn't seem to talk much. As the saying goes, 3 women make a drama. When Chen Jun, Li Xiaoshan, and Bai Xiaoyuan get together, they always have a lot to talk about. The ones walking in front sometimes talk about interesting things in life, sometimes discuss their work in the institute, and sometimes complain about various problems in the research projects in the institute. Wu Jiangtao was holding Mio and walking behind with Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend who didn't talk much. Compared to their liveliness, the words of the 2 grown men were really dry. Have you graduated yet? It's been 3 years since I graduated, and I've been working in the Research Institute. How about you? I just graduated. Oh, have you found a job? I stayed at the school and applied for a job as an assistant teacher in the martial arts department. Oh, When the 2 were silent and didn't know what to say, Mio in Wu Jiangtao's arms raised her head very appropriately, yawned, and continued to rub against her mother's clothes, sleeping soundly. Wu Jiangtao looked at the top students around him. It was obvious that the science student in front of me had not touched upon any of his interests during the conversation, and he had no interest in talking much. Or rather, he was not very good at finding something to talk about. As for the first 3 girls, they were chatting animatedly, ranging from clothes, babies, cosmetics, skin care to some experiences at the Research Institute. I can only say, are the chat contents between top students and genius students so plain and simple? Oh, right. Bai Xiaoyuan in front suddenly turned around, looked at Wu Jiangtao and said, Jiangtao, I came here today to ask you for something. It's about my husband. As she spoke, the girl nodded at her boyfriend. The science student suddenly looked a little unnatural. When he was about to say something, his girlfriend glared at him, and he could only shut up. What's the matter? It's because I work at a desk in the Research Institute all day. I'm only 30 years old, and I have pain in my cervical spine and lumbar spine all day long. I went to a Chinese medicine hospital for several physical treatments. He felt better for a while, but soon he became sick again. I asked him to exercise, but he was too lazy to do it. Xiaoshan told me that your family is a martial arts family, and you are particularly good at some back and waist treatments. And moxibustion is very useful, so I would like to ask you to teach me. Her boyfriend couldn't help feeling embarrassed when he heard this, but because of the look in his girlfriend's eyes, he could only listen obediently. The group was full of young people. Although Wu Jiangtao felt that he and Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend had nothing to talk about at first, they actually had something to talk about after they started talking. My problem isn't that serious. The science student boyfriend looked a little embarrassed. It will be much better if you lie down more. Actually, it's not necessary. Do you know whether it is necessary or not, or do I have a deeper understanding? Bai Xiaoyuan immediately confronted him without hesitation, cursing angrily. Do you really think this is a trivial matter? As the two of them were cursing, the other three people who sat down beside them fell silent instantly. They stared at each other for a while. Among them, Li Xiaoshan, who was eager to cause chaos in the world, came over with a smirk on her face and said to Bai Xiaoyuan, "Xiaoyuan, you just said something about deep experience. I just want to ask, what kind of experience is it? How can it be deep? How can it be engraved? Come on, explain it to me in detail." Bass. Even though Bai Xiaoyuan raced at high speeds with this girl all day long, her face instantly turned red in front of Wu Jiangtao and her boyfriend also looked embarrassed. "Li Xiaoshan, you are a dog." She immediately became angry and retorted fiercely. "You probably haven't had any profound experience, have you? Oh, by the way, Ning is just a poor single dog. No wonder you have such doubts. I can talk to you about the whole process in detail later, okay?" Chapter 119, Who Can You Blame for Giving It Away for Free? Please subscribe and give me a monthly ticket, Tilda. Hearing this, her boyfriend next to her was upset. He looked like he wanted to say something but couldn't. He wanted to hold his girlfriend but didn't know what to say. "You are the dog. I already have a boyfriend." Li Xiaoshan's face also turned red, and she started to tear it up directly. "Also, you are so eager to treat his waist. I think you despise him because he is Zhao Zilong of Changshan, right?" After hearing this, Chen Jun was the only one who didn't get on the road. She didn't know that the car had whizzed past her, and she didn't even reach the exhaust. The two people on the side understood what she meant and were speechless. Wu Jiangtao, Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend. Hey, how did I become Zhao Zilong of Changshan? At this moment, he was really embarrassed, especially in front of Wu Jiangtao. "No, how can you say that?" At this moment, he was so embarrassed that his toes almost broke his shoes. He built a 3-bedroom, 2-living-room apartment on the ground, and then he dug a basement, then went in and didn't come out. Wu Jiangtao here was also speechless. What was going on in the world now? What's going on? Why are girls so aggressive? They really have no chance against men when it comes to driving. After playing around for a while, Bai Xiaoyuan found out that Li Xiaoshan already had a boyfriend. Humph, if you guys hadn't been showing off your affection in front of me all day, would I have been captured so easily? This guy confidently accused Chen Jun and Bai Xiaoyuan. "It's all your fault." He. How could Chen Jun bear this injustice? He directly retorted, "Who can you blame for giving it away for free?" "I'm giving it away for free." Li Xiaoshan's eyes widened, veins popping out on her forehead. "I don't know who's offering buy one get two free." Before she finished her words, she saw Chen Jun turning his head nonchalantly to look at Wu Jiangtao beside her. "Jiangtao, don't make spicy chicken for lunch. I'm allergic to chili peppers recently." Someone was suddenly speechless and dared not say another word. "Okay, Ning Nihai, can I stop talking? You can't do this. When you can't win an argument, you ask for support and even threaten others with delicious food. I feel wronged. Can I stop talking?" "Yo." Bai Xiaoyuan at the side was watching in great surprise. How rare it was that Li Xiaoshan, who was always sharp-tongued and could choke people to death with just one sentence, would end up like this. That's not right. Chen Jun's indifferent way of speaking in the past did sometimes give her the upper hand in the confrontation with Li Xiaoshan, but this girl is really too thin-skinned, especially when they are in the car. The steering wheel is in the other person's hands, so naturally she will be controlled by Li Xiaoshan most of the time. However, Bai Xiaoyuan didn't have the heart to mock him now. Instead, she turned to look at her boyfriend, who was embarrassed. It was embarrassing, but she did have some problems with her lumbar and cervical spine. If she was sick, she had to get treatment. "Why don't you tell me about your situation? You don't need me to help you with this matter, do you?" She was a little angry and glared at Li Xiaoshan fiercely. It was obviously just a discomfort in the lumbar spine and cervical spine, but she had to suddenly drag everyone onto the highway, making her boyfriend embarrassed. Well, this boyfriend from the University of Science and Technology of China then talked about some of the discomforts he had with his lumbar and cervical spine. Wu Jiangtao also felt his pulse, looked at his face carefully, and asked about his diet and daily routine, and then he had a rough idea in his mind. "Your qi and blood are a little insufficient. You just said that you sweat all over when you exercise a little, and you sweat frequently even if you don't exercise. Your constitution tends to be yin deficient. You now have habitual lumbar pain, which will be relieved after a rest. This is because you are still young and have lumbar muscle strain. You must pay attention to this, otherwise the next step is lumbar disc herniation." Oh. Seeing that Wu Jiangtao's explanation was very logical, Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend calmed down and was no longer so embarrassed. He had been to a Chinese medicine hospital before, and the doctor told him the same thing during the physical therapy. However, he was too busy working at the Research Institute from last year to this year, and he couldn't go there for physical therapy on time. He went there once when he had time, and if he didn't have time, he could only get some ointments from there. This is why my back pain has not been cured. The pain in your cervical spine is not a big problem. Just raise your computer screen a little higher and be careful not to lower your head to play with your phone. Sleep with a firmer pillow at night. Combined with the moxibustion treatment I give you, it will be better after a while. Your discomfort is more in your waist. Moxibustion here. Wu Jiantao looked at Bai Xiaoyuan and said, I will send you the moxibustion acupuncture points later. You can give him moxibustion according to the method I just mentioned. The pain will go away after a week of moxibustion. If you want to cure it completely, it is best to do moxibustion for a month. As for the future, if you can exercise more, you should exercise more, pay attention to your diet, and have a more regular lifestyle. Even if you are not sick or in pain, you should do more moxibustion to clear the meridians in your waist and back. It only has benefits and no harm. Okay, thank you. Although Wu Jiantao is not a medical student, he has been exposed to martial arts since he was a child and knows a lot about Chinese medicine, especially acupoint massage, acupuncture, moxibustion, and other physical treatments for injuries. You can't work all the time in the Research Institute. You always have to take a lunch break. At this time, you can stretch out your hand and make a fist. Use the knuckles of your index finger to rub your Mingmen acupoint and Yeian acupoint. Then rub the Weizhang acupoint. Finally, rub the Kunlun and Pushan acupoints on your ankles. Rub them more often whether you have something to do or not. It can relax the meridians and relieve back pain. In fact, in addition to these acupoints, many other acupoints can also treat back pain. You can go to the library to find detailed explanations of relevant Chinese medicine acupoints, and you can learn and read them yourself. Okay, I understand. Thank you. In the morning, the group walked along the riverside plank road for less than an hour. The hot sun made it unbearable to stay on the tree-lined path. They went to the second floor of a water bar in the park and sat down to talk about these things. Before I knew it, it was almost 11 o'clock. Eat a big meal, eat a big meal. Li Xiaoshan stood up and felt her stomach growling with hunger. Well, I'll treat you at noon today. Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend stood up and said with a smile. I just massaged these acupuncture points like this, and immediately the pain in my waist disappeared. It's really amazing. I'll treat my junior brother Jiang Tao and everyone to have a meal together at noon today. But I want to eat delicious food, said a big foodie. I know a Sichuan restaurant that serves very authentic Sichuan cuisine. Let's go there together. No, I just want to eat the food cooked by Brother Tao, even if it's not Sichuan cuisine. You just mentioned Shudu on Zuyuan North Road, right? No more drafts tilde 2 updates today tilde let me save my energy. I should be able to update more next week tilde at least 2 updates a day, and 3 updates from time to time tilde. Chapter 120 Dinner. Please read and vote for me tilde. Brother Tao, Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend, was stunned for a moment. Then he realized that Li Xiaoshan was talking about Wu Jiantao, but he had never eaten the food cooked by Wu Jiantao, so he quickly explained. No, the Sichuan cuisine in Shudu is really delicious, and the chef is the 3rd place winner of the star contest. I've been there too. It's authentic, but I just don't think it tastes that good. He was speechless for a moment. This Shudu restaurant was very popular among students and teachers in the university town. Although it was a bit expensive, teachers and students generally liked to go there if they had dinner together. It's okay. We'll go to their house for lunch today. Here, let the chef make us something delicious. As she spoke, Li Xiaoshan pointed at Wu Jiantao, who was standing next to her with a speechless face, and said, Hey, I've bought all the vegetables. This guy was craving for spicy chicken so much that he ran to a farmer's market a few kilometers away and bought a local chicken and put it in 902's refrigerator. She was talking about her own thing, while Bai Xiaoyuan and her boyfriend beside her couldn't help but look at each other in surprise. Is Chen Jun's husband's cooking really that delicious? Coarse hair. They set out on their journey home, left Beilu Park, and soon returned to Yunlu Garden. As soon as they arrived downstairs of Building 11, Wu Jiantao saw Yu Wenhuang standing downstairs waiting for them, as if he had just arrived. Ding, ding, ding. Let me introduce my boyfriend, Yu Wenhuang. He works in the security department. Li Xiaoshan smiled and pulled over her tall, handsome cousin and said to Bai Xiaoyuan, How is it? This is my real boyfriend. I'm not a jerk anymore. Yu Wenhuang. Hearing this, he was a little amused, but there was nothing he could do. After all, they had made an appointment to go out and play in the morning, but he broke the appointment at the last minute. Of course, there must be another special reason why he came at this time. He. Bai Xiaoyuan was too lazy to argue with him, so she walked up to Yuan Huang and extended her hand. Hello, nice to meet you. Xiaoshan and Xiaojun are good friends and colleagues from the same research institute, Bai Xiaoyuan. My name is Yuan Huang, nice to meet you too. After introducing themselves to each other, they walked into the corridor door chatting and laughing. Beep, the target person hasn't appeared yet. The target person hasn't appeared yet, Huya. Please answer if you hear me. Suddenly, a very subtle sound came from a certain direction. Wu Jiantao was slightly startled and subconsciously turned his head to look. Cousin Yuan Huang turned around, shook his head gently, stretched out a finger, and tapped his earphones a few times. It was because Wu Jiantao's martial arts skills had improved by leaps and bounds, and his five senses were extremely sharp, that he was able to capture the sound coming from the headphones his cousin was wearing. If it were anyone else, they would not have heard any sound at all. Any mission? Ding dong, Wu Jiantao in the elevator took out his mobile phone and sent him a WeChat message. Yes, it's an emergency mission this morning. I thought I couldn't come today, but I didn't expect it to be related to you. Before I tell you the details, I need to explain something to you. You say, Wu Jiantao, I am here to inform you as the captain of the Security Bureau's security team stationed at the Security Bureau that there is an emergency mission with a risk factor of 6 stars. Your cooperation is required. If you agree, the Security Bureau will reward you with a 6-star mission level bonus based on your participation and performance in this mission. Are you willing to accept it? When Wu Jiantao saw this WeChat message, he was stunned, but he replied almost subconsciously. I accept. Okay, then I will explain the mission to you now. What? After Wu Jiantao understood the content of the mission, he was filled with surprise. He turned his head to look at Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend who was standing not far away. He didn't expect that the security department was dispatched this time just for this science genius. Well, Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend has made great achievements in physics and mathematics. He is one of the most eye-catching new generation scientists in the Chinese scientific community in the past 2 years. He is now a professor at the University of Science and Technology. He made a major breakthrough in physics some time ago and won considerable honors at home and abroad. Because of this, he was targeted by the Shadow Brigade that accepted the Bounty Mission Commission from the Southern Continent. The reason why the martial arts team of the F-City Police Department and the Security Bureau made such a big move this time was because they obtained intelligence that some people from the brigade had sneaked into F-City and were very likely to target this scientific genius. As for what they were going to do to him, was the target him or one of his research inventions? At present, Yuan Huang and his team are still unknown. Our team will try not to let you participate in the front line. After all, your actual combat training has just begun. Do you understand? You are the last line of defense for our team this time. Don't act rashly until the last moment. Do you understand? Clear, Wu Jiantao replied. While secretly communicating with her cousin, he couldn't help but look at Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend. He didn't expect that this science guy who looked very gentle and shy actually had such high attainments in the academic world. However, he frowned and was more worried that this mission would involve Chen Jun. Yuan Huang obviously saw this as well and sent another WeChat message. Don't worry, I'm at the scene. Our team's experts are lurking nearby. Even if the enemy can fly, they can't hurt Xiaojun and the others. I can be 100% sure of this. Who are they? Do they have any firearms? It's impossible for them to have hot weapons. Maybe our security department is still a little overwhelmed in preventing the enemy from sneaking in, but in terms of firearms control, they can't have it. You can rest assured about this. How many people are there on the other side? How strong are they? Are there any notable features? 3 people, all of them are masters above the whole strength level. 2 of them are at least star-level masters who can transform light and dark. All 3 are extremely good at disguises and have mastered very special bone shrinking techniques, and can even use this technique to change facial features. Oh, Wu Jiantao's heart sank slightly. No wonder the masters from the security department and the security bureau had not been able to catch the other party. Just based on the characteristics of the other 3 people, it would be difficult for them to find them. Soon they arrived at the 9th floor. Wu Jiantao had no expression on his face, but his heart was heavy as he and Chen Jun led everyone to 903. I'll go get that chicken. Li Xiaoshan walked briskly back to 902 to pick up the country chicken that she had bought specially in the morning and slaughtered on the spot. Wow, this house is really nice. As soon as she stepped into 903, Bai Xiaoyuan liked this simple, elegant, and simple Chinese-style residence and looked around with joy. Chapter 121, Don't go too far. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. In the future, can we also buy a house of this style in this park, Tilda? She turned to look at her boyfriend, only to see him push up his glasses with his hands and agree with a smile. Okay, I like it too. As long as you like it, I'm fine with it. Uning is the best. Bai Zhaoyuan walked over with a smile, put her arm around her boyfriend, and kissed him. This scene made Chen Jun, who was holding Daodu, turn her head away in silence. Perhaps because they had been held in his arms all morning, Daodu and Mayo Mio slept soundly without crying or making a fuss, and they didn't get up to eat. Wu Jiantao took Chen Jun and the two babies back to the room. First, I changed the diapers of the two babies, and then put the two babies in their mother's arms, one on each side, and started eating. Then you feed the two babies first. I'll go to the kitchen to cook. It will be ready soon. Well, go ahead. Chen Jun raised his head and just answered when he felt a black screen in front of his eyes, and someone leaned over at lightning speed. Lips and teeth are interdependent. Plub, plub, plub. Even though she is a mother of two babies, every time she is touched like this, her watery eyes become full of blush and her beautiful face becomes filled with embarrassment. Wu Jiantao stopped there, and when he stood up he couldn't help but kiss Chen Jun gently on the forehead. She couldn't help but close her eyes, her heart beating like a deer. I'll go out and greet them and cook, you stay here. Okay. Chen Jun opened his eyes and looked at him quietly. What? Aggressive. Soon, the rhythmic sound of cutting vegetables was heard in the kitchen of 903. Although it was not the first time that Yu Wenhuang had seen it, he could not help but watch it for a while longer. It seems that your knife skills are much better than before. Wu Jiantao didn't even raise his head, concentrating on processing the chicken and vegetables on the chopping board. The kitchen knife in his hand turned into a snow-white afterimage, which showed his amazing knife skills. Although my martial arts training is still lacking in practical combat, my mind is becoming more and more free. Many boxing techniques have begun to be integrated into my life. For example, when I am cutting vegetables and cooking now, many of my hand and body movements actually have mind techniques. Yuan Huang was slightly stunned. Then he shifted his gaze from his swordsmanship and observed Wu Jiangtao's entire body. Just as he said, he had entered a certain natural state of mind, and he could not help but be amazed. It seems that your martial arts are improving very quickly. I didn't expect that you would enter the realm of harmony of mind and intention so soon. The eldest cousin was amazed. It was strange. He had never realized that his cousin had such a strong martial arts talent. Although there were some late bloomers in the past, they were mostly in terms of mentality, not physical qualifications. Wu Jiantao's peculiar transformation is absolutely unprecedented. Yuan Huang was helping to prepare the food. During the conversation, he suddenly took out a very small headset and gently put it into Wu Jiantao's ears. It's for simultaneous communication. Your code name is Huwei. If anything happens, someone will contact you directly through the headset. Good. Generally speaking, a warrior who has reached the level of rounded power, where the power can be transformed into light and dark, is a star-level warrior. Star-level warriors are also divided into blue, dark blue, purple, and dark purple. Above that, they are no longer star-level warriors, but masters who are 1 in a million. In the warrior strength rating, Yuan Huang is in the deep blue. Although he is only in the second echelon, he is definitely an expert among experts in the southern continent. Ordinary forces would never dare to provoke him. I know what you're worried about. In fact, protecting him is more of my job. The reason I told you is that I hope that while you can help, you can also know the specific situation and better protect others, so that I don't have to be too distracted. Yuan Huang knew Wu Jiantao's worries. Don't worry, our security bureau is not a pushover. Nothing will happen. Good. Wu Jiantao nodded. Soon dinner will be served. Until now, Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun finally stopped holding Daodu and Mayo Mio all the time and put them in the baby bed. Well, in order to give the babies a sense of security, the two little babies have been wrapped in a piece of clothing that their mother had worn recently. Pushing the baby's bed to the side of the dining room, they asked everyone to sit at the table and get ready to eat. Wow, spicy chicken, shredded pork with fish sauce, tofu and eggplant stew, vinegar pork tenderloin, chicken stewed with red mushrooms. As soon as she sat down, Li Xiaoshan looked at the table full of delicious food, and she knew every dish by heart. Chen Jun, Bai Zhaoyuan, and Yuan Huang, who were sitting at the same table, were already used to it, but Bai Zhaoyuan's boyfriend was the only one who was a little surprised. Wu Jiantao brought over a glass pot from the kitchen, which contained freshly made soy milk. Dishes, soups, and drinks are all available. Then I'll start, Tilda. Li Xiaoshan was very rude. As soon as she sat down, she started to attack the spicy chicken with her chopsticks. Well, it wasn't just her who attacked this dish, but also Chen Jun and Bai Zhaoyuan. Hey, 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 you can't go too far. I bought this chicken. Leave some for me. Lee Zyroshin looked at the two of them and suddenly became anxious. Although today's spicy chicken was a big pot, it was quite a lot, but there were three of them now, not to mention there were two big eaters beside them. Well, I'm talking about Yuan Huang and Wu Jiangtao. If these two cousins also join in the fight for food, this plate of spicy chicken will be eaten up cleanly in less than 2 minutes. Woohoo! Li Ziaoshan wolfed down the spicy chicken nuggets with rice while glaring at Chen Jun and Bai Ziaoyuan. She was saying something to both of them at the same time. Well, with her poor teeth, she probably couldn't say anything nice. Chen Jun and Bai Ziaoyuan looked calm and focused on eating the spicy chicken. Hey, hey, don't go too far. Bai Ziaoyuan, I was the one who recommended the spicy chicken dish to Ning. Looking at the rapidly decreasing spicy chicken pieces, the big foodie who swallowed the mouthful of rice in his mouth was filled with grief and indignation. When you eat from the well, don't forget the well digger. You're going too far, Wu. Chen Jun didn't say anything. He just kept eating the chicken nuggets calmly. He turned his head and gave Bai Ziaoyuan beside him a look. Bai Ziaoyuan understood what he meant and nodded with a cunning look in his eyes. Well, the two of them had already reached a tacit understanding on how to deal with Li Ziaoshan, the big eater. They must not argue with her at critical moments. Otherwise, she might be so angry that she couldn't eat. Instead of doing that, it would be better to concentrate on eating and let her chatter non-stop so that she would eat less and the two of them could eat more. Chapter 122, Shadow Fox, please subscribe and vote tilde. Is it really that delicious? The scene of these three friends fighting over the dish made Bai Ziaoyuan's boyfriend beside them feel very curious. He couldn't help but stretch out his chopsticks towards the spicy chicken, wanting to try it. Brush. Just when he had handed his chopsticks out and was about to touch the plate of spicy chicken, he saw Chen Jun, Li Ziaoshan, and Bai Ziaoyuan suddenly stop what they were doing, and they all turned around and looked at him. This scientific genius. My chopsticks. Can't clamp it down, or can't clamp it down, or can't clamp it down. Forehead. He was extremely embarrassed for a moment, and his chopsticks turned halfway and landed on the shredded pork with fish sauce on the side. The three girls' united attitude towards the outside world was immediately lifted, and they returned to the situation of a three-way battle for the plate of spicy chicken. Brush, brush, brush. In less than 10 minutes, the three girls finished the big plate of spicy chicken. Well, Chen Jun ate the least among the three. Although she also liked this dish, she always restrained herself and didn't eat much. Her gesture of snatching food was actually just to make Li Ziaoshan unhappy. As for Bai Ziaoyuan, she is a foodie who is no less than Li Ziaoshan and is very interested in food. You can tell from her slightly fat body. In fact, she is not very fat, just a little plump. But obviously, with this physique, her appetite is undoubtedly more than others. Well, at least half of the spicy chicken was eaten by her, while Li Ziaoshan only ate about 1/3, and the remaining less than 1/5 fell into Chen Jun's stomach. Ugh. Li Ziaoshan hadn't finished eating yet, and the spicy chicken was gone. She was so angry that she used her chopsticks to fight for the dishes that Bai Ziaoyuan liked the most. Just as they were having a lively dinner with a group of friends, in room 2201 on the 22nd floor of Building 11. In the bedroom, an old lady was lying on the bed with her hands and feet tied up, fixed to the bed, looking at the terrifying woman in front of her with horror. Don't worry, I'll be leaving soon. I'm having a great time with your little grandson. It's okay, just stay in your room and I'll bring you food and drinks. Just don't go out. In front of the dressing table, a long-haired woman was pressing something with her hands on her face. Her face seemed to be changing strangely, which made the old lady on the bed feel creepy and terrified. Her lips trembled as she tried hard not to scream. A few days ago, this strange woman knocked on the door. When the old lady went to open the door and saw her, she was stunned. The person who came looked exactly like him, and when he spoke, he actually said that he was his long-lost twin sister. At that time, the aunt was confused because it's just that the other person is so similar to me. But since I was a child, my parents who had passed away many years ago never told me that I had a twin sister. Seeing the other person's face that was exactly like hers, and the eager anticipation and joy in his eyes, the aunt couldn't help but feel a liking for him, and at the same time, a sense of blood connection emerged in her heart. Without thinking too much, she enthusiastically accepted the other person's invitation. It really looks alike. Standing in front of this mysterious woman, the auntie felt like she was looking in a mirror. But when this mysterious woman came in, her nightmare began. First, I was confined to my room, watching this woman who looked a lot like me replace me in my home and take care of my little grandson. The little grandson was only 5 or 6 years old, and he didn't have the sensitivity of an adult. so he didn't notice that something was wrong with his grandmother. As for the two adults, they worked overtime from 9 to 5 every day, leaving early and returning late, and they didn't even see this woman who looked exactly like them a few times. Nor did they realize that the real themselves were in the room and had never gone out at all. It's not that she didn't want to sound the alarm and let her son and daughter-in-law call the police immediately, because she once saw with her own eyes on the surveillance camera that this woman gently put her arm around her grandson's neck, then turned her head to look at the surveillance camera and smiled gently. Just this smile made her give up any thought of calling the police. This grandmother in her early 60s believed that she had met all kinds of people in her life and was quite good at judging people. However, when faced with this scary smile, she collapsed. She did almost everything the other party said. In the past few days, the other party didn't even tie her up, and she stayed in the room very obediently and never went out. Until this afternoon, this woman who looked very much like me suddenly tied herself up. Then the aunt saw with horror that the mysterious woman standing in front of the mirror on the dressing table had her facial bones bulging and sinking in an extremely strange way under the massage of her palms, and kept changing. She was filled with horror. This terrible woman, what on earth? Is it a human or a ghost? Could it be that the person who had been sharing the same room with her these past few days was actually a monster? As soon as she thought of this, the old lady couldn't help but feel a chill in her heart. After a while, the scary woman finally put down her hands and turned into a woman who looked like she was only in her early 30s. But upon closer inspection, she seemed to be in her 40s. The old lady didn't dare to even breathe. Today was Sunday, and her grandson's kindergarten was holding a flea market party. Her son and daughter-in-law had come to accompany them specially today. At this moment, there was only her and this terrible woman in this huge house. The scene before her eyes was beyond her imagination. She was really worried that the other party would kill her to silence her. Although she had never seen the other party's true appearance, wasn't that how it was played in TV dramas? Only the dead can keep secrets, and only the dead are the safest. Here, this mysterious woman completely changed her appearance, took out something and stuffed her chest with it, put on her clothes, and muttered, "Hate it, she's already so old. It's okay to look so young, but she even." As soon as the other party spoke, the auntie here felt a chill in her heart, because even the other party's voice had changed. Before, her voice was exactly the same as hers. "Knock, knock, knock." While muttering to himself, he stretched out his hand and tapped a few times on his earphone. After the other party also replied with the secret code, he said lightly, "Shadow Fox is ready and can be dispatched at any time. What is the specific situation of the target person? Some book friends may be confused about the recent plot. Please be patient. This is just a complete presentation of the world view of this book. It is just a plot like Home Defense Line. It will not be expanded and deepened. This article is still about love, dad, and daily life. It will not go astray. Chapter 123, Dark Power. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. It has been confirmed. The person you are playing is nothing special. She is just the wife of the owner of a small martial arts school in a small place. She has never shown any martial arts skills or anything in the past 10 years. Perhaps it is because their martial arts school is very good at Chinese medicine and is good at health preservation that they can stay so young. Okay, what about 903? Is there anything wrong with the target person? Are there any new developments? The woman named Shadow Fox just stood there. But the amazing thing was that as she chatted, the expression on her face and her entire posture and temperament actually began to change gradually, from her previous coldness and dullness to calm and natural, especially the softness in her eyebrows and eyes. She suddenly turned into a very ordinary housewife. "Master Shadow Fox, I suggest you terminate the operation." The appearance of Tiger Fang next to the target person means that the people from the Security Bureau and the Security Department are already in place. "Don't worry." Shadow Fox, whose temperament had completely changed, smiled warmly. The expression on her face and even her entire body posture had changed. "The women I imitate have never been found flawless, especially the young ones. But I think something is wrong. Is there anything else wrong?" On the other side of the headset, the deep male voice said solemnly, "According to the information I have collected, the residents of 903 are two young people. The head of the household, Wu Jiangtao, is a student who just graduated from M University. He has now been hired as an assistant teacher in the martial arts department of M University. I looked through the teaching qualifications of the martial arts department of M University and found that those who can become assistant teachers of the martial arts department of this key university must at least be professional martial artists. From this point of view, his martial arts strength does not match his previous resume. This young man named Wu Jiangtao did not have any outstanding martial arts talent before. He was only slightly stronger than ordinary people at the level of strength penetration. He couldn't even enter the level of hand and foot combination. I think there is something wrong with him. Oh, this is strange. Shadow Fox frowned slightly, but still shook his head. It's okay, at most he's at the whole strength level. I'm not afraid even if Tiger Fang is here, let alone a small academic warrior who doesn't even have much practical experience. The person on the other side of the headset was suddenly speechless. That's right, even if the martial artists who came out of the Bloody Storm and the martial artists from the academy were at the same level, their fighting power was very different. How big is the gap? When the two confront each other, the former can even defeat the latter in one encounter. That's right, but Lord Shadow Fox, you must be careful. Tiger Fang is a rising star in the Chinese Security Bureau, and a deep blue warrior should not be underestimated. Rest assured, Shadow Fox looked in the mirror, adjusting her makeup and expression, becoming more and more like the person she was in disguise, until in the end they were exactly the same. She was also a master of the deep blue level. She smiled and said, "Don't say I'm disguised. Even if I'm really discovered, he won't dare to fight me." Yes, she might be in danger after being discovered, but don't forget that Huya is the one who defends and protects, while she is the one who attacks. There is a huge difference between defense and offense, and there are too many people over there that she can easily control. The other party will definitely be afraid to act rashly, and even worry that she will take action directly. Because the destructive power of these two deep blue warriors is so terrifying, the target person and other ordinary people will definitely be affected. That being said, if there is an accident, Lord Shadow Fox, please retreat immediately and don't get too entangled with the other party. We will mobilize the yellow-skinned people in City F to cooperate with you and ensure your safe evacuation from China. Don't worry too much. Huya is alone. By the time the others come, I may have taken the target away. I wish you all the best, and we are waiting for good news. After the call, Shadow Fox had completely changed into a completely different person. She looked delicate and gentle. Although she was not a stunning beauty, she had a unique temperament. She was also very young with good skin. She looked to be in her 30s. Action begins. Keep in touch and respond promptly to any emergencies. Yes. After saying that, the mysterious woman named Shadow Fox chuckled, turned around and looked at the tied-up ant on the bed. Don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me. I won't say anything. I can pretend that I didn't see anything. I will definitely keep the secret for you, Don't worry, the purpose of our brigade is not to kill innocent people. We won't kill anyone. When the people from the Security Bureau find you, just tell them about my situation. It's okay. Shadow Fox chuckled. His expression was completely different from just now, but the tone of his voice made people shudder. The old lady finally breathed a sigh of relief, her face still filled with lingering fear. She looked at the terrifying, mysterious woman hesitantly. You really won't kill me? Certainly. Shadow Fox came closer, stretched out his hand, and gently brushed her forehead. Just have a good sleep, and everything will be fine when you wake up. With a light press, a hidden force as soft as a needle penetrated into the middle-aged woman's forehead. In an instant, the woman with a face full of fear fainted and was motionless. Seeing that her chest was still rising and falling, and her breathing was steady, it seemed that she was not killed by this terrible master. However, although she didn't die, she would never know what happened to her. Well, she has now become unconscious, or has a stroke-like condition, or has simply become an idiot. Even Shadow Fox couldn't predict what would happen when she woke up after this palm strike. But the certainty was that she would not be able to regain consciousness. This is the terrifying thing about star-level warriors. Unlike the fierce and overbearing bright power of the whole power warrior, the dark power can leave no obvious external or internal injuries. Even if this old lady goes to the hospital for a brain CT scan now, no problem will be found, because the damage caused by the dark power is too subtle, only destroying a few very tiny neurons in the brain. Even if a fellow warrior has not seen this scene with his own eyes, there is no way to judge why she suddenly lost consciousness. The son and daughter-in-law around the ant would only think that she was alone at home and suddenly had a stroke, and would not have any other inferences. As for going to the hospital for examination and seeing a doctor, as mentioned before, the CT scan did not show any problems, and the doctor had no way of determining why she suddenly became like this. In the end, they could only conclude that it was a sudden accident caused by old age. Eventually, any trace of Shadow Fox's visit here would be covered up by this family and the relatives and friends who flocked here, and would quickly disappear over time. Within a few days, no trace would be left. Chapter 124, Mom is here. Please subscribe and give me a monthly ticket, tilde. That's right, only the dead can keep secrets. That kind of thing is only a plot in TV dramas. The brigade organization that Shadow Fox belongs to has dealt with similar situations countless times, leaving no clues, and is very familiar with it. If this old lady were really killed, the risk of her being exposed would instantly soar from a few percent to 99.9%. Because, if anything unusual happened around the places they had been in, the security team would not need any logical reasoning or evidence like they would in ordinary investigations. They would definitely dig deep into the ground, turn the place upside down, and hunt them down relentlessly. Yinghu knew without thinking that even if she successfully left China, it was only a matter of time before the Security Bureau found her. China has always been known as the graveyard of brigades around the world, and that reputation is not undeserved. Maybe Chinese martial arts is just like that in the world's professional martial arts competition circle. But when walking in their circle, if you meet Chinese martial artists when you go out, everyone will be extremely cautious. This time, Shadow Fox dared to step into F-City. One reason was that she was skilled and brave, so the mission was not that difficult. Another reason was that there were yellow-skinned people who had been lurking in the coastal areas of the southern continent for many years. They provided her with great help. Even if the way was blocked, she could still hide smoothly. There are so many and so diverse people in China. Not to mention, in real life, there has always been an inexplicable force of public opinion even on the internet. This is off topic, so let's not discuss it here. After doing all this, Shadow Fox, who was completely disguised as another person, walked out of 2201. As soon as she walked out, she turned sideways, turned her back to the surveillance camera in the corridor and walked towards the corridor entrance, not taking the elevator. Well, even though the woman she was disguising herself as would most likely not expose herself, Shadow Fox had been stealing for many years and was very experienced, so she tried her best not to reveal her whereabouts. As soon as she entered the corridor, she put on a glove, then reached out and gently pressed the escalator, and the whole person flew up and then gently pushed the escalator. Her whole body turned lightly in the air on the staircase turntable and fell down. Whenever she was about to land on the next flight of stairs, she would just gently reach out and push the escalator, then turn around in mid-air and continue to land on the next flight of stairs. After entering the staircase, Shadow Fox's footprints never landed on the stairs. He just moved on the escalator and then turned nimbly in mid-air, always in a state of falling. From beginning to end, no footprints were left, and it was impossible to leave fingerprints while wearing gloves. The special gloves did not leave any obvious marks. If her fellow travelers saw this scene, they would also praise it. Shadow Fox is Shadow Fox. This strength is so light and nimble that even most deep blue warriors cannot achieve it. Time goes back to 10 minutes ago, when Shadow Fox was still using the bone shrinking technique to disguise himself in 2201. Knock, 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 knock. A secret signal for requesting a call came from a very small headset. Almost at the same time, Wu Jiantao and Yuan Huang at the dinner table were slightly stunned, and at the same time, they lightly knocked their teeth a few times, using the sound of bone vibration to reply to each other. Soon, a steady voice came from their headphones. Tiger Fang, Tiger Tail, something's happening. Knock, knock, knock. Wu Jiantao didn't know how to communicate in code, so Yuan Huang would use the Moore code to reply to him by knocking his teeth together. Please give me more details. Hu Wei's mother has appeared, but we suspect that she is most likely the other party in disguise. Huya, you should still remember her 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the Shadow Brigade visited several provinces in East China. He slipped away right under their noses by using his extraordinary skills of shrinking bones and disguising himself. Later, the Security Bureau made a comprehensive analysis and concluded that he must have worn special pupil masks and fingerprints, which resulted in them being unable to track him down, whether through facial recognition or fingerprints. At that time, Yuan Huang was not yet the captain of the Tiger Roar team, but just an ordinary member of the team. He had fought against the Shadow Brigade that had infiltrated Province M. No, it's not accurate to say that they fought. To be precise, they played a game of cat and mouse. Back then, it wasn't just their Tiger Roar team that was dispatched. There was also the Dragon Cloud team from City F and the Tian Gang team from City X to the south. The 3 teams worked together, with 4 Deep Blue Masters participating in the operation. The lineup was quite strong, but they were unable to fight the Shadow Brigade head-on. In the end, the other party came calmly and escaped far away. This time, if the information had not been transmitted back from the southern continent at the fastest speed, the 2 major teams from City F and City Q would have been dispatched immediately. while City X in the south, being relatively far away, had not had time to arrive here. What? My mother's second aunt is here. Hearing the voices of his teammates in the headset, Yuan Huang frowned slightly, and Wu Jiantao, who didn't know what methods the Shadow Brigade had, gave him an inquiring look. The cousin shook his head slightly, indicating that he would explain it to him later. Knock, knock, knock. In the restaurant, Yuan Huang conveyed information unnoticeably through the sound of his teeth knocking against each other. Have you checked her fingerprints and pupils? We captured her pupils from the surveillance video and obtained fingerprints from the pen she used to sign when she entered the community. We immediately confirmed that she was 99.9% Yu Wenqian, but even so we can't be 100% sure that she is Yu Wenqian herself. Understood, everyone stand by. At this moment, Wu Jiantao also received a WeChat message on his phone. It turned out to be a WeChat message from my mother, saying that she would be there soon. Mom, why didn't you tell me you were coming? He frowned slightly, replied to a WeChat message, and then handed the phone from under the table to Yu Wenwang to take a look. The eldest cousin gave him a look, then smiled and said to the others who were still eating, I'm full. As he spoke, he stood up, cleared away a few clean plates on the dining table, and walked towards the kitchen. I'm full too, you guys eat first. Wu Jiantao immediately stood up and followed with his own bowl and chopsticks. As soon as they entered, the two cousins stood side by side in front of the sink, washing and communicating at the same time. The Shadow Brigade is proficient in some ancient martial arts bone shrinking technique and is good at disguise. With the continuous development of technology in recent years, even the Sky Eye system cannot distinguish the real from the fake. So amazing. They are indeed very powerful. We have dealt with them before, but we didn't even see them in person back then. Quick, confirm whether the person coming is the second aunt herself. Yuan Huang's face was solemn. I went to do nucleic acid test this morning, so it's a little late. The second update will be posted soon, Tilda. Chapter 125. The Back of the Universe, please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket, Tilda. The captain of the Tiger Roar team could not help but feel solemn. The other party dared to disguise himself as the second aunt, and might have the same martial arts strength as her. Purple level, a great master with superb strength. Although this level of strong people are the leaders of the major brigades, the core of the team, and never move lightly, but what if? Good. Wu Jiantao immediately picked up his phone and called his father at home, first to confirm that his mother had indeed come from his hometown in Q City this morning, and then he called his mother directly. Mom, why didn't you tell me you were coming? Wu Ma, who had already reached Ryanlu Garden and was holding an old hen in her hand, snorted coldly. What? Your mother, I have to inform you in advance before I come. No, I didn't cook any extra food for you. It's okay. I've already had lunch on the high-speed train. Oh, that's fine. Wait a minute. The witch mother on the opposite side snorted coldly and said unceremoniously, hurry up and make 2 more dishes. Although I have eaten, I am only 70% full. Wu Jiangtao confirmed this is my mother. He hung up the WeChat voice call speechlessly and turned to look at his eldest cousin next to him. It's my mom, your second aunt, I'm 100% sure. Call. Upon hearing this, Yuan Huang immediately let out a long breath. Since the second aunt was here, the mission this time would not be difficult at all. If the previous difficulty index was in double digits, the current index is probably only a few tenths. Well, although I don't know how strong second aunt's martial arts skills are now, as far as Yuan Huang knows, 20 years ago, this aunt of his had the strength of purple star level. Now her martial arts combat power is definitely at deep purple. No, it is very likely to be at a higher level. When she was young, Mom Wu's talent was even stronger than Dad Wu's, but Dad Wu was more stable and wise, which is why he was able to get to where he is today and surpass him. After hanging up the phone, Wu Ma didn't think much about it, because she would be able to see her little grandson soon, so she went to Building 11 happily. Almost at the same time, Shadow Fox also landed on the 9th floor. Suddenly, a secret signal from his companion came through his earphones, and then a familiar voice came at the first moment. Sir, something's happening. Click, Shadow Fox's hand, which was originally moving towards the escalator, changed to clapping, and the whole person was hanging in the air between the 10th and 9th floors, lightly and nimbly. Explain. Your disguised Yu Wenqian has appeared and is already downstairs. Oh, Shadow Fox shook his head. I thought it was something else. It's okay, the plan goes on as usual. But it's okay. The more ordinary people come, the safer I will be, and the easier it will be for me to escape unscathed. Lord Shadow Fox, the information about the people around the target, Wu Jiantao and the Yu Wenqian you are disguising, is a bit strange. I suggest you cancel the operation, otherwise you may fall into a very passive situation. Shadow Fox was not a stubborn person, so he listened to the advice of the yellow-skinned man who was cooperating with him and considered it seriously. The mission continues. I will proceed with caution. If I see that the situation is not right, I will retreat immediately. As for you, be ready to destroy the traces and hide again at any time. Whoosh! The hand holding the escalator shook slightly, and she drew a trace in the air and landed on the stairs of the 9th floor with light and steady steps. It was at this moment that the super dad system in Wu Jiangtao's mind suddenly issued a long-lost warning sound. The prompt sounds for daily tasks and hidden tasks were soft and relaxing. Ding dong! Trigger the Super Daddy System series of tasks home defense. Protect the ones you love, and use protection to prove the martial arts in your mind. Make sure your family survives this crisis safely. Take up the courage to accept the challenge. If you choose to accept, you will get the first stage mission reward, the back-to-back method of hiding items. If you choose to refuse, the subsequent series of missions will be canceled, and there will be no mission penalties or rewards. Host, please choose whether to accept. Yes. Wu Jiangtao chose to accept it without even thinking about it. Immediately, the system notification sound of Super Dad came to his mind again. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission, Homeland Defense. The reward of the unique storage ability, Back of the World, is being distributed. Ding, the reward has been issued, please check it. Almost at the same time, Wu Jiangtao's mind also emerged with the very strange ability to hide things called the world on the back. Hiding things means hiding items on your body. As the name suggests, hiding things on your back means hiding some items on your back through some kind of magic trick without being discovered by others. In a flash, Wu Jiangtao mastered this very special ability, called the ability to hide things on the back. It is not a superpower, but the ability to hide small things on one's back and fix them with the shoulder blades and clothes. At the same time, through some sleight of hand, body movements, positioning, and the use of light and darkness, it is difficult for others to detect. Standing in the kitchen, Wu Jiangtao had a strange look on his face. This system is really weird. It can actually give such a weird and strange ability. He couldn't help but turn his head to look at the large and small items in the kitchen, what could be hidden on his back. This special method of the back of the universe is not suitable for everything. Things that are too sharp cannot be put in, as they may hurt yourself. Things that are too square cannot be put in either. It is best to put things that are round or flat. Suddenly he saw two objects on the chopping board and on the shelf, and his eyes lit up instantly. In a blink of an eye, Wu Jiangtao prepared two more dishes. One was radish and minced pork with egg custard, and the other was stir-fried pork with cabbage, and he brought the two dishes to the restaurant. Mom, Wu Jiangtao nodded to Wu Ma and placed two dishes on the table. Wu Ma nodded at him, turned around and sat down and said to Chen Jun, "Has the baby been less fussy these past 2 days? I have to say that the yellow-skinned people in their brigade are very powerful. Just based on the garbage thrown downstairs by 903, they judged that the babies of these two new parents had been making noises at night in the past 2 days. It's much better now," Chen Jun said quickly. "Yeah, that's good." With just this one sentence, Wu Jiangtao and Yu Wenwang, who came out of the kitchen, had no doubts at all. At the dining table, the witch mother, who had just sat down, greeted by Xia Ouyuan and her husband with a warm face, just as they were about to start eating. Ding dong, ding dong. A very pleasant doorbell rang. Chapter 126, Shadow Fox Takes Action. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. Who else will come at this time? When Chen Jun hurriedly got up and was about to go over, the older cousin next to him suddenly raised his hand and said, "Sister-in-law, you eat. I'll go open the door. It might be my colleague. Since the second aunt in front of me is real, no matter who is visiting now. Even if it was him, it was very likely that he was a member of the Shadow Troop in disguise." Yuan Huang looked relaxed and natural, but his body and mind slowly tensed up and then relaxed. He instantly entered the best combat state. He walked through the living room, past the entrance hall, and came to the front door. He calmly pressed the door handle and gently opened it. When he saw the appearance of the person coming clearly, the strength that had been pent up in Yuan Huang's body burst out almost instantly. He suddenly took a step forward, and with a ferocious and domineering half-step collapse, he slammed into the face of the person coming. Wu Ma, who was holding an old hen in her left hand, was puzzled, but she immediately reacted at this moment. She raised her right palm upwards and blocked his punch with incredible precision. The strength in her body contracted and expanded, which not only neutralized the force of the punch, but also blocked his punch back. The next moment, Yuan Huang's pupils suddenly shrank, and he retreated backwards in horror like a cat with its fur exploded. At the same time, he immediately issued the highest level of warning to his teammates. The warrior from the Shadow Brigade disguised, as the second ant is actually a master with great strength. The duel between the two sides did not cause much noise. This was mainly because Wu Ma was a great master who had reached the level of strength transformation and was able to dissolve this level of super heavy blow. "You kid!" Mother Wu, who was holding an old hen in one hand, looked at her nephew in confusion. "Have you lost your mind? Why did you suddenly attack me?" It was not just an ordinary attack. The punch just now was clearly aimed at killing. If the one who faced that punch just now was a blue-level warrior, if he is caught off guard, he will definitely be killed by Yuan Huang in one blow. Although the two of them didn't make much noise at the entrance, they instantly alarmed Wu Jiangtao and another Wu Ma in the restaurant. "Brush." The next moment, Wu Jiangtao also came to the scene. When he saw the other mother here, he was stunned. "Who are you?" the son asked subconsciously. "Wu Ma." Just when she was confused and didn't know what was going on, something unexpected happened in the restaurant. "Ah, Auntie, what are you doing?" "Not good." Yuan Huang realized the problem instantly and immediately understood that the second ant in front of him was not a disguise, but his real second ant. No wonder she had such level of skills just now. He was filled with shock and anger, and immediately understood. "I must have been caught off guard by the enemy just now, and I actually arrived here before my second ant." At this moment, Yuan Huang's mind emerged with the performance of the second ant, who came earlier from beginning to end. Although she only said one sentence, it was just that one sentence that made them, who had no doubts in the first place, give it even less thought. Swish, swish, swish. Compared to his experienced cousin, Wu Jiangtao was a step slower in realizing that the person in the restaurant was not his mother, but he still followed instinctively. They both arrived at the restaurant one after another, and were shocked and angry to see. "Aunt." Chen Jun and Li Xiaorashan both stood up, watching Wu Ma with a smile on her face, and easily grabbed by Xia Ouyuan and her boyfriend with one hand each. "Haha, your reaction is really too slow." The voice of this witch mother was exactly the same as that of the real witch mother, but the expression on her face was completely different from before, especially the indifference and murderous intent in her eyes, which made people feel cold in their hearts. Yuan Huang came to the restaurant and stood in front of the fake second ant, his face so gloomy that it seemed as if water was about to drip. "Let them go." As he spoke, he gently waved to his cousin who followed closely behind. Wu Jiangtao immediately understood and led Chen Jun and Li Xiaorashan to carefully leave the restaurant. "But," Shadow Fox, who still looked exactly like Wu Ma, smiled lightly and said happily, "Now that he is in my hands, what bargaining chips do you have to negotiate with me? You can't leave." Yeah." Shadow Fox smiled gently, holding by Xia Ouyuan and her boyfriend, and walked towards the living room. Although she still looks like Wu Ma, her expression and posture have completely changed into that of another person. At this moment, Chen Jun and Li Xiaorashan, led by Wu Jiangtao, had returned to the bedroom. In the large living room of more than 60 square meters, Yinghu held by Xia Ouyuan and her boyfriend, with their backs to the balcony, and smiled softly at the two young people opposite. Oh, not only that, there was also the middle-aged woman that he was in disguise who was looking at him curiously. Shadow Fox smiled in his heart. It was really. "Ignorance is bliss. If I'm not mistaken, you should be the Shadow Fox of the Shadow Troop, right?" "Oh, you actually know me." Shadow Fox was a little surprised. "At least we have dealt with each other once. If I can't even find your basic information, then I won't be the captain of the security team anymore." As he was speaking, Shadow Fox suddenly pushed with his right hand, causing Bai Xia Ouyuan's boyfriend to stagger and almost fall to the ground. "You let go of Madoka." As soon as he was released, Bai Xia Ouyuan's boyfriend turned around anxiously and was about to pounce on Shadow Fox, but Yuan Huang quickly stepped forward and held him down. "Calm down." Shadow Fox held Bai Xia Ouyuan's neck tightly and smiled softly. "Look at your back." Yuan Huang's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately pressed on the back of Bai Xia Ouyuan's boyfriend. He immediately felt a strange little thing between the shoulder blades, and the indicator light on it flashed scarlet. "This is remote-controlled." Shadow Fox smiled and said, "It has an intelligent sensing system. Our people can easily identify any of your movements and then detonate it instantly. Although the power is ordinary, it is enough to blow the two of you into pieces." She said these words to Yuan Huang. Finally, she turned to look at Bai Xia Ouyuan's boyfriend, who was shocked and angry. You know what I want. With a slight smile, Shadow Fox took out a USB flash drive from his body with his left hand and threw it forward gently. Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend caught it subconsciously. Give us the structural diagram we want. Oh, right. I solemnly remind you this USB flash drive is specially customized. After writing, it will be transmitted synchronously by satellite. Any operation can only be done once. It can only be inserted into the computer once and can only be written once. Repeating any step will trigger the USB flash drive's self-destruct program. Originally, I didn't want to threaten you with your girlfriend, but I was afraid that you were stubborn and would rather risk your life to protect this achievement, so I had no choice. Chapter 127, Strong Suppression. Please subscribe and vote tilde. Shadow Fox held by Xiaoyuan and slowly retreated to the balcony. I personally added a layer of insurance to our plan. I will remind you again as a friendly reminder. You can only use that USB drive once. If we find that the structure diagram sent over is wrong, you can wait to collect your girlfriend's body. Upon hearing this, Yuan Huang and Wu Jiantao were so shocked and angry that they had nothing to say. It has to be said that the plan of the Shadow Troop and the Shadow Fox in front of them from the beginning to now is flawless. Faced with this situation, even if his teammates were on the scene, I am afraid there is no good way to take down the Shadow Fox. One reason is that the other side has hostages, so they are afraid to act rashly. Another thing is that the target person they are protecting this time has a bomb on him, so they must ensure that he is completely safe. This time, the target person to be protected by the mission played a decisive role in the development of a certain scientific field in China in the future. Even if this caused the structural diagram to be taken away by the other party, it would be an acceptable result. As long as he survived, their mission this time would not be considered a failure. Whoosh! Shadow Fox retreated to the balcony, holding Bai Xiaoyuan with one hand, and a backpack behind him suddenly unfolded, which turned out to be a hang glider. She looked confidently at Huya, who was pressing on her but had no way to stop her, and said, "We take money from others and help them solve their problems. We shadows have always been just guns. You can't get away, Shadow Fox." Yuan Huang shook his head and said with certainty, "Really? Then you can try to keep me here." Shadow Fox didn't believe it at all. He stomped his feet lightly and jumped up with Bai Xiaoyuan. Call. At this moment, Wu Ma moved, but she seemed to teleport and appeared within reach in an instant, and she stretched out her hand easily and placed it on the Shadow Fox. By the time this Shadow Troop expert reacted, she had already landed back on the balcony. It was only now that the strong wind and waves brought by her incredibly swift movement had begun to blow away. Call. Shadow Fox was completely stunned, and then she reacted, almost subconsciously exerting force with her right hand. But just as she had the thought, and her body force had just moved from her waist to her arm, she saw the other party casually stretch out his hand and clasp her right arm with incomparable precision. Bang! The next moment, Bai Xiaoyuan felt herself floating forward, and when she came to her senses, she was already back in her boyfriend's arms. "Let me go, or I will detonate the explosives on him right now." Shadow Fox was shocked and angry. "Is this what you're talking about?" Wu Ma stretched out her hand, and a piece of gray powder and some red and blue broken plastic fragments fell from her palm. As for the inside, it also turned into powder. The power is perfect. Only a great master with profound strength can have such terrifying speed and explosive power to shatter the bomb into powder in an instant, making it impossible for the bomb with intelligent sensing and real-time data transmission to react at all. At this moment, Shadow Fox felt like he was falling into an icy cave, filled with horror. At this moment, how could she not understand what level of martial arts master she was facing? After Yuan Huang used special shackles made of super alloy to restrain Shadow Fox, it meant that the joint mission of the two major teams from City F and City Q was completed in excess. "Thank you, Second Ant. Thank you, Second Ant." The boy bowed to Wu Ma happily and was about to leave immediately with the core member of the Shadow Brigade. "Second Ant, I feel relieved that you are here. I will take her back first. She is now a very important person to our security department and the security bureau." All right, get out of here. If you bring this kind of trouble to my daughter-in-law next time, I won't let you off." No. Having said that, Yuan Huang bowed again with great gratitude. "That's enough. If you bow again, I'll be angry." Wu Ma raised her eyebrows, picked up a cup on the table, and threw it at him. "Get out." Bang! The cup hit Shadow Fox right in the middle of her face. The force it carried was so overwhelming that it hit her so hard that her head tilted back. Seeing the other witch mother being hit and looking a little dazed, and the two streaks on her face slowly flowing from her nose, The whole scene was silent at first, and then, Buff! Bai Xiaoyuan couldn't help laughing out loud, and the others were speechless. Wu Ma was also amused and scolded with a smile. You kid. That's right, when she threw the cup just now, it was impossible that she was aiming at the wrong person. It was Yuan Huang who, facing the cup, actually pulled the prisoner next to him over and blocked it. Shadow Fox, do you have to be so shameless? Although I am your prisoner, I am also a deep blue master after all. Can you please respect me a little? At this time, Shadow Fox's hands were shackled, and he couldn't even reach out to wipe the blood from his nose. He could only let the blood flow down bit by bit. I'm leaving now. Seeing that his master's wife was really angry, Yuan Huang turned around and headed towards the door with Shadow Fox, etc. Wu Ma specially took out 2 tissues and walked over to wipe the blood from Yinghu's nose. After all, this girl now looks exactly like her. If she really let her go out like this, she would be embarrassing herself. Seeing that this great master looked so kind and amiable, Shadow Fox's heart was slightly moved. The next moment her body suddenly rose 2 sections, her shoulders shrank slightly, and her facial features changed instantly. In the living room, everyone was slightly stunned. They saw that this woman named Yinghu had bright eyes like water, red lips, and white teeth, and there was a very unique aura between her eyebrows, giving people a feeling of being beautiful and graceful. It's quite pretty. In appearance, she is only slightly inferior to Chen Jun, and much prettier than Li Xiaoshan and Bai Xiaoyuan. The nose is still red, and the faint trace of blood ruins this beauty. Inexplicably funny. Oh, look at you, you little brat. You beat up a little girl. What the hell did you do? Seeing the pitiful look of this pretty girl, Wu Ma's aunt's heart suddenly overflowed, and she pulled her hand. Shadow Fox. Oh, second aunt, please stop talking. I'll take her away first. Xiao Tao, please send them off. Oh. Wu Jiantao responded and hurriedly followed. He did not notice that when his mother said, send it off, she gestured to her nephew, and Yuan Huang nodded knowingly. As for Shadow Fox, who was being dragged out of the door, he was still speechless. Revealing their true colors, they originally wanted to see that this great master seemed easy to talk to, and while gaining her natural empathy, they also lowered their guard against themselves. But after seeing my true appearance, this great master actually sent another person to escort me. Is this the unique style of China's martial arts masters? Chapter 128, A Stunning Knife. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. Let's take the elevator. When they got outside, Yuan Huang said this calmly, and the Shadow Fox that he had detained suddenly had a flash of suspicion in his eyes. As for Wu Jiantao, who followed over, he didn't think much about it and followed his cousin to the elevator door. Ding dong! The elevator arrived. When Yuan Huang walked in with Shadow Fox, he seemed to casually reach out and press the earphone, sending a secret signal to the team members. Buzz! As soon as the elevator started moving, the breathing of Yuan Huang and Yinghu became long and erratic, as if it was there and not there. With a slight shake, the elevator began to descend. The atmosphere in this elevator, with only 3 people in it, gradually changed, and something seemed wrong. Looking at the elevator buttons, the numbers slowly jumped to the 5th floor, and Wu Jiantao finally realized that something was wrong with the atmosphere in the elevator. The next moment, the entire elevator suddenly stopped. Sizzle! The lights in the elevator flickered, and then there were 2 loud bangs from the elevator door and overhead. Wu Jiantao's heart skipped a beat, and his muscles and bones instantly tensed up, but he immediately forced himself to relax. From drills to actual combat, martial artists' first fight against the instincts formed since humans entered the cruel natural world to survive, and the body's instinctive tenseness when facing a crisis. Relaxation is the prerequisite for exerting strength. After being extremely soft, it can become extremely strong. Only by fully relaxing and getting rid of all the stiffness in the body can you emit a complete and unified elastic force. Bounce and shake are common characteristics of any burst of strength. Boom, boom. Amidst 2 loud noises, the roof of the elevator was suddenly lifted up from the outside, and then a bright white blade fell from the sky. Almost at the same time, the Shadow Fox, which had been very well behaved, also moved. A small blade suddenly emerged from the heel of its right foot, and it fiercely slashed towards Yuan Huang with a vicious and cruel crotch-kicking kick. Snort! Yuan Huang was prepared for this, and he suddenly pulled the shackles that held the opponent's hand. Shadow Fox's kick was instantly deformed and kicked into nothingness. Buff! However, this kick was just a feint. The next moment she was pulled closer to Yuan Huang and suddenly opened her mouth. An extremely sharp blade flew out and she shouted, "Kill him and come help me." On the other side, Wu Jiantao narrowly avoided the knife that fell from the sky by a hair's breadth. Swish! The T-shirt on his back was instantly cut open, and the moment the cold and sharp blade passed by his skin, he got goose bumps all over his back. Not good. On the other hand, Yuan Huang really didn't expect that the person the Shadow Brigade launched a surprise attack to rescue was actually a master of cold weapons. This person was completely on a different level from ordinary full-strength warriors. A cold weapon master who has walked out of the bloody storm is far stronger than the ordinary master. Not to mention the knife in his hand, even any slightly sharp object in his hand can unleash a very sharp killing skill. Martial arts is the art of killing. At this moment, Yuan Huang was really worried about the life and safety of his cousin. One knows one's own affairs. After all, Wu Jiantao doesn't even have the ability to fight against such a knife expert. But when he turned around to help, the blade sprayed out from Shadow Fox's mouth stopped him. Success! At this moment, the corner of Shadow Fox's mouth curled up slightly, and the stab from the sky missed. Her companion had anticipated this and suddenly turned over. The blade in his hand turned into an extremely swift white light and wiped towards Wu Jiantao's neck. Careful! At this moment, Yuan Huang was furious and felt a chill in his heart. He could almost see the horrifying scene of Wu Jiantao's head being chopped off by the knife. It's over. How should I explain to Master and Madam Mistress? Bastard! Yuan Huang couldn't bear to see this scene, so he could only turn his head away, and with a murderous look on his face, he grabbed Shadow Fox's neck, strangled her, and slammed her forward. Duang! A human figure suddenly dented into the stainless steel wall. This fierce blow almost made Shadow Fox faint. However, a cruel and cold smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Almost at the same time, there was an extremely sharp sound of metal collision beside them. Clang! This is not over yet, and then there was another puff sound of chopping. Until this moment, Yuan Huang slightly turned his face to glance at his cousin, and then his face could not help but be stunned. Not only him, but also Shadow Fox, who had withstood his attack and did not faint, also saw the fight between his companion Daring and Wu Jiantao. Let's go back 0.8 seconds. As the brigade's sword Shadow, it is worthy of being ranked among the top 3 in cold weapon close combat. That knife, absolutely stunning. No matter whose speed or angle, it was impeccable. But when it was about to fall on the opponent's neck, the boy had already reached his back with one hand and then pulled it forward. Clang! Appeared in his hand and blocked the knife. It turned out to be a frying pan. Knife Shadow. Is this some kind of strange weapon? Although he was shocked, he, who had been through many battles, did not stop. Instead, he immediately moved forward, changing the angle of the knife in his hand to cut towards Wu Jiantao's waist and ribs. As he expected, the young man could only use the frying pan to block. Just when he thought he had a good plan and wanted to use his next killer move, he saw the other party reach into the frying pan with his other hand and took out kitchen knife. Well, the opponent did not retreat but advanced. Wu Jiantao also moved forward, holding the frying pan with his left hand to block the opponent's third knife, and holding the kitchen knife with his right hand to go straight to the opponent's center line. He held the knife in his hand, used it as a fist, and performed the chopping palm technique of the Wu family's Xinyaquan. Buff. Since he was discharged from the hospital, he had been practicing his knife skills in the kitchen for nearly 2 months. At this moment, he finally had room to display his skills. With such close proximity, the short blade was most suitable for use. This direct knife. Perfect hit. On the other side, Yuan Huang, who had just subdued Shadow Fox, happened to look over here slightly sideways. Together with Shadow Fox, who had seen the whole thing, both of them were completely stunned. Well, the scene before them was a bit cruel. The shadow of the sword was standing there, stiff and straight, with a kitchen knife hanging very uniquely on its full and wide forehead. And under the handle, the expression on its face was the same as Yuan Huang and Yinghu beside it. He was also completely confused. As for Wu Jiantao, after he succeeded in his attack with the knife, he immediately let go of the knife handle and retreated. He turned around abruptly and raised the frying pan in his left hand to support his cousin. Put it down again. Well, Yuan Huang has already dealt with Shadow Fox, so he doesn't need to take any more action. Chapter 129, Sword and Shield Technique. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. And in this moment of turning around, with a clang, the knife in Daring's hand fell to the ground, and then he fell straight forward. Before he fell to the ground, this last thought flashed through his mind. Awesome, this guy carried 2 weapons with him, and I didn't even notice. My forehead hurts. Watching this scene, Shadow Fox felt a chill in his heart, and a word emerged in his mind. Sword and shield. On the other side, Wu Jiantao looked at his back with a look of having survived a disaster. Damn, it was a close call. If he hadn't just learned the special method of hiding things with his back. That knife strike just now would definitely have cut a big gash in my back. I say, when did you put these two things on your body? I didn't even notice. Yuan Huang was speechless. Wu Jiantao spread his hands and smiled reluctantly. My clothes are torn, otherwise I can teach you now. That's right, when he had just learned to use his back to move, he found the most suitable thing to put it in the kitchen. Frying pan. Then I discovered that the kitchen knife on the chopping board could be placed in the frying pan. He picked up the two things directly and fixed them on his back with a very special technique, coordinating with his back muscles and shoulder blades. Not to mention, after coming out of the kitchen, Wu Jiantao coordinated his body movements and the light. While having lunch in the restaurant, no one, including Yuan Huang, noticed that there was a frying pan and a kitchen knife hidden on his back. The fight in the elevator was over in less than 2 seconds. Looking at the guy who fell to the ground in the elevator, unspeakable things began to flow from his forehead, and his body twitched, and he began to urinate and shit. Gradually, the entire elevator was filled with an indescribable smell. Wu Jiantao wanted to act more naturally, but after he had just punched a huge hole in the enemy's forehead, his hands began to tremble uncontrollably. When Yuan Huang's teammates opened the elevator and saw that Huya was fine and Shadow Fox was still in his hands, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Very good, no accidents. Immediately, they turned their heads and looked to the other side. Well, Wu Jiantao was pulled into the team by Huya as a temporary member, so they naturally knew each other. As for the man lying on the ground, kitchen knife. Why is there a kitchen knife on this punk's forehead? What is this shape? Also, why is Wu Jiantao holding a frying pan? They looked at each other, speechless for a moment. So the third person hid in the elevator. No wonder we couldn't find him. Where's the other person? Huya, also known as Yuan Huang, climbed up from the elevator hanging between the 2 floors with Yinghu. The other team members reached out and pulled Wu Jiantao up, then went in and brought out the man who had been hacked to death. This knife. A team member looked at the knife on the guy's forehead and exclaimed, "How fast, accurate, and ruthless. Boss, when did you develop such a good knife skill?" "I didn't chop it with this knife." Yuan Huang glanced back at him. Huh. The players who gathered around were all surprised. Could it be? They all turned to look at Wu Jiantao, only to see the boy standing by with a frying pan in his hand, a look of embarrassment on his face. This couldn't help but be awkward. All of Yuan Huang's teammates who came to the scene were masters at the whole strength level or above. They all had a deep and dignified aura and extraordinary bearing. On the other hand, he was standing here holding a frying pan. Well, his incompatibility with everyone else's style was immediately apparent. Standing between Yuan Huang and his team members, Wu Jiantao felt like a husky that had mixed into a wolf pack. Just as he was looking down at the frying pan in his hand, wondering whether he should throw it aside, a member of the Tiger Roar team came over and looked at him curiously. "Did you chop this with a knife?" It's me." "Amazing." Although I don't know why Wu Jiantao carries a frying pan and a kitchen knife with him, he was able to kill the experienced knife masters of the Shadow Brigade in one fight. It shows that he is not simple. Not to mention them, even Yuan Huang felt that it was really extraordinary that Wu Jiantao could hide these 2 objects on his back. Who could have thought that he would suddenly pull out a frying pan and a kitchen knife? It was also during the conversation with these security team members that Wu Jiantao realized that the best way for him and his cousin to bring the man named Shadow Fox downstairs was to take the stairs instead of the elevator. Maybe if I take the stairs, I will be attacked by the swordsman as well. But compared to the narrow and dangerous space in the elevator, the staircase has much more room to maneuver, and the teammates lurking on the nearby floors will be able to rush in instantly. But in the elevator, it is much more dangerous. Yuan Huang deliberately chose to take the elevator at Wu Ma's request, giving Wu Jiantao a chance to join the battle, and also giving the lurking enemies a perfect opportunity to surprise them. Only, unexpectedly, the attacker turned out to be a rare knife expert. The cousin recalled the 2 extremely swift flashes of snow-white swords when the other party fell from the sky, and couldn't help but break into a cold sweat for Wu Jiantao. So thrilling. Recalling the previous scene, Yuan Huang, who was sweating profusely, couldn't help but turn his head to look at Wu Jiantao beside him, only to see that the boy was chatting awkwardly with several of his teammates. Well, I didn't expect that this guy could actually pull out a frying pan. Now calm down and think carefully. Yuan Huang couldn't help but applaud these 2 small and portable things. Frying pan plus kitchen knife are really the best weapons for close-range killing at home and when traveling. One focuses on attack, the other on defense. The former has a high carbon content and is hand grinded with water, making it extremely sharp, even though every household has this kitchen knife. If any one of them was placed in the martial arts world thousands of years ago, it would definitely cause a bloody battle. Look, this blade and handle are formed in one piece, which fits the principles of human palm mechanics for an excellent grip. It is most suitable for close combat and has explosive lethality. With this sword in hand, the world is mine. The latter is a composite stainless steel and aluminum alloy frying pan. As long as you aim at the opponent's movements, and simply and roughly use the bottom of the frying pan to block the opponent's tricky chopping, stabbing, and other weird knife techniques at any angle, you can easily block them. Well, although it's just a small frying pan, but for a warrior with full strength holding it in his hand, it is definitely more than enough for defense and gives a full sense of security. Yu Wenhuang didn't know about others, but he felt like he was carrying a frying pan plus kitchen knife with him, and he even dared to challenge any cold weapon master among the star-level warriors. I'm not afraid of anyone. What? Chapter 130, It's Your Own Fault. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. Professor Lu, I'm sorry to have scared you. Returning to 903, Yuan Huang stood in front of Bai Xiaoyuan's boyfriend and saluted him. I'm fine, I'm fine. If it weren't for you, I would have really handed over the schematic. Lu Zhou reached out his hand and shook it vigorously with Yuan Huang, his face full of gratitude. I should be the one thanking you for saving me and Xiaoyuan. It's not just me. Yuan Huang did not dare to take credit for himself and quickly said, to be honest, you were able to escape safely this time, thanks to my second aunt. In the living room, Wu Ma, who was holding Mio, heard this, looked up and glanced at him and said, you still have some conscience, kid. Hearing this, Lu Zhou hurriedly pulled by Xiaoyuan and came to Wu Ma to express his gratitude solemnly. This major incident that happened in Yunlu Garden did not cause any disturbance in the community, except that the old lady in room 2201 was found in time by Yuan Huang and his teammates and sent to the hospital for treatment. Originally, they were going to have a relaxing and enjoyable lunch with a few good friends today, but who could have thought that something like this would happen? Watching Lu Zhou and Bai Xiaoyuan leave under the escort of Yuan Huang and the security team, Li Xiaoshan and Chen Jun in 903 were still frightened. Watching ordinary people in the community go to get off work and back home as usual, quarreling at home when there is something going on, and beating their children when there is nothing going on. They both felt as if they were in another world. Is this the world that martial arts masters come into contact with? It turns out that Wu Ma is also an S-class, secret martial arts master of the M Province Security Bureau. It's just that she hasn't used this identity for nearly 20 years. She retired long ago and no longer participates in any affairs of the Bureau. This time, she just happened to see it. After the matter was settled, Wu Ma also avoided the young people like Wu Jiantao and went outside to make a phone call through a special channel, scolding an old friend. You have to curse. Back when we were still here, we were very famous along the southeast coast and even in the southern continent. Even though there were many dragon and snake stories at that time, nothing had ever happened. This old friend was scolded to death. As soon as he hung up the phone, he immediately summoned all the people in charge to the Security Bureau's meeting room, slammed the table, and yelled at them. I'll give you 3 months to find this bastard. Don't let any of him go. By the way, remember to bring me the bone shrinking technique and the disguise technique. All the subordinates. The latter sentence is the key point, right? The director is the director, with a unique and sharp vision. Now that they have Shadow Fox in their hands, it will be easy for them to find it through her, and then get the world-class bone shrinking and disguise techniques. Very worth it. Xiaojuan, can I sleep with you tonight? In the afternoon, Li Xiaoshan ran to 903 and said something pitifully to Chen Jun, who was practicing yoga. Chen Jun's first reaction was not to answer her, but to turn around and look at Wu Jiantao, who was practicing martial arts next to her. The two looked at each other, speechless. Who made you so curious that you had to run downstairs to see it? Aren't you asking for it? She rolled her eyes at her best friend in annoyance. Then how do I know about them, they? Li Xiaoshan's face was still a little dull, and it was obvious that she was frightened by the scene she saw at noon. Well, she heard her boyfriend tell her what happened at 903, and she ran down out of curiosity. When she arrived at the scene, the people from the security department didn't let her in, but this girl confidently said that she was Yuan Huang's boyfriend and was very worried about his safety. Oh. The two team members who blocked the scene immediately had ambiguous looks on their faces. Oh, it turned out that she was the captain's girlfriend. That's okay, so they let the girl into the scene. But as soon as she arrived at the scene, Li Xiaoshan saw a scene that she would never forget in her life. Right next to her boyfriend, another person retrieved a very familiar-looking kitchen knife from the forehead of a dead person lying on the ground. Then, this guy actually held the knife upside down and handed it back to Wu Jiangtao, whose face was livid, and chuckled and teased. "Hey, do you still want this knife?" Li Ziaoshan, Zio Shan, Yuan Huang turned around in shock and saw his girlfriend's face pale a few steps away. This horrific scene had such a huge impact on her that it overwhelmed her. The girl covered her mouth on the spot, turned around and ran away. Although he was a straight man, Yuan Huang still knew what to do at this time. He glanced at his teammate next to him, told him to arrange the scene, and chased after him directly. "No, can you blame me for this? Who let her in?" The captain glared at him inexplicably, and the team member felt very aggrieved. He turned around and said to Wu Jiangtao, who had come to his senses and felt his stomach churning, "You haven't answered me yet. Do you still want this kitchen knife?" Puff! Wu Jiangtao, who was drinking water, couldn't hold it back and sprayed it out, almost choking himself. Fortunately, he had killed human traffickers before, so he didn't react as strongly as Li Ziaoshan. As for the kitchen knife, it has been cut open on someone's forehead. Can it still be taken home to cut vegetables and meat? Cannot. Not only that, but it also made Wu Jiangtao very uncomfortable at the moment. He even felt nauseous when he was cooking lunch at noon. On the other side, several members of the Tiger Roar team stood there laughing as they watched Wu Jiangtao flee, laughing heartlessly and gloating over his misfortune. "Having seen blood, I have some practical experience. If I attend our security bureau's training camp again, I'm sure I'll pass." "Once, Captain Yu, you are so optimistic about this kid." "Nonsense." Yu Heian, the captain of the F-City Longyun team, laughed and scolded. "Don't you think this kid is a genius?" Not everyone can see the invincibility of the combination of the two kitchen utensils, a frying pan and a kitchen knife. But as a captain like Yuan Huang, he also saw the wonderful chemical reaction produced by the combination of one pot and one knife. He even started to think about how to customize such a small round shield and a short blade similar to a kitchen knife for the team members. In response to Li Ziaoshan's request, Chen Jun subconsciously glanced at Wu Jiangtao beside him. He clearly saw the displeasure on his face and couldn't help laughing. Therefore, of course, she did not agree, but said to her speechlessly, "No, won't you ask your boyfriend to come over and accompany you?" "No, no." He waved his hands repeatedly and said stubbornly, "Will he think I'm a casual girl? It's too fast. Besides, I'm shy too." Chapter 131, Aunt, you eat too. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. I just asked your boyfriend to come over to accompany you at night. This has nothing to do with casualness or not. Just when she thought of this, Chen Jun also reacted. Her face slightly reddened and she couldn't help but slap her. "I'm talking to you seriously. What are you thinking about?" "Wait a minute." Although Li Ziaoshan was frightened, she still had no problem confronting this thin-skinned girl. "When you said that, how serious do you think you can be?" "Chen Jun, get out." Her face was full of shame and anger, and it was flushed red. As for Li Ziaoshan, she just came here to relieve the pressure in her heart and had no intention of sleeping with her best friend. Not to mention that she is now living in the same room with Wu Jiangtao. Even if she isn't, she still has two big babies. How could it be her best friend's turn? Thinking of this, Li Ziaoshan's face was full of self-pity, and she lamented, "Once upon a time, I was even ranked before your parents in your mind, but now, at most, I can only rank fourth in your mind." On the balcony, Chen Jun rolled her eyes at the guy and didn't bother to talk to him. She slowly pressed down and did splits on the yoga mat, clasped her hands together and raised them upwards, looking up at the sky, quietly maintaining this yoga pose. This movement is definitely quite difficult for many beginners of yoga, but for Chen Jun, it is just a simple movement to recover. As she practiced step by step, she was soon able to return to her peak and perform the most difficult move she had ever mastered. Crane Zen pose. This movement is to place your knees against the upper sides of your elbows, curl up your body, and then use only your hands to support your entire body to maintain an inverted position. Although Chen Jun looks weak, she has actually been practicing dance for 4 years in college, and her physical fitness is definitely not bad. After entering graduate school, she was busy with work and had no time to practice dance, so she turned to practicing yoga. With her dance background, she was able to learn yoga very quickly. In just half a year, she had mastered the Crane Zen yoga pose and had even maintained it for 15 minutes and 8 seconds. After giving birth to Daodu and Mio, she now even has difficulty putting her knees on the upper side of her elbows, after barely being able to stand upside down. "I couldn't even last a minute." "Call." On the other side, Wu Jiangtao let out a very long breath, slowly stood up, and looked at Chen Jun beside him. Zyarajan, do you have anything special you want to eat tonight? Ahem. Chen Jun practiced yoga with her eyes closed while thinking seriously. I suddenly want to eat braised pig's head skin. I haven't eaten it for a long time. Can you make it for me? Before she could finish her sentence, she saw the other two people beside her turned pale. The next moment, Li Zyarashan suddenly stood up, covered her mouth, and ran to the bathroom at the entrance. Chen Jun, what's wrong with her? The innocent girl turned to look at Wu Jiantao beside her, only to see that his face was also a little blue. What happened to Zyarashan? Is she feeling unwell? Wu Jiantao was speechless. What? In the evening, the dinner prepared by Wu Jiantao was particularly simple. Well, there was no meat, but there were still meat dishes. Although there were only two, one was stir-fried meatballs with vegetables, and the other was steamed fish. Well, these two dishes were specially prepared by Wu Ma. Otherwise, there would be no meat in the evening, only vegetarian dishes. At dinner time, Chen Jun was eating the delicious meal as usual, and suddenly realized that Wu Jiantao and her bestie had never eaten the stir-fried meatballs and vegetables that were placed here. Why don't you eat this meatball? She looked at them with some confusion. Zyarashan, are you feeling unwell? You have such a poor appetite at night. I am fine. Li Zyarashan looked listless. She ate listlessly and had a dull complexion. You don't look like you're okay. On the side, Yuan Huang put some green vegetables into his girlfriend's bowl, feeling both distressed and amused. Why did you go down there to join in the fun when you had nothing to do? It's your own fault. Eat more greens, eat more greens. It will be fine in 2 days. He coaxed. Wu Ma, who saw this scene at the dinner table, was at a loss whether to laugh or cry, but she didn't say much. This was just curiosity killing the cat. Looking at the delicious food on the table, Li Zyarashan clearly wanted to eat it, but she felt uncomfortable in her stomach. Today's food was relatively plain, and if there was red, no matter how hungry she was, she probably wouldn't be able to eat a single bite. At this moment, Wu Jiantao suddenly stood up and walked into the kitchen. Then, a faint aroma of warm milk floated over from the kitchen. Immediately, the listless Li Zyarashan stood up and turned to look. This is... Soon, Wu Jiantao came out holding a tray with 2 rows of small glass bottles on it, each containing a warm and pure bright yellow. It looks very delicious. This is... The 2 girls at the table stared at the food with their eyes shining. Milk and egg pudding. Although Wu Jiantao was better than Li Zyarashan, he also didn't want to eat meat and didn't want to see red food, so he specially made this plate of milk and egg pudding. Well, seeing the plate of milk and egg pudding and smelling the sweet but not greasy milk fragrance, Li Zyarashan suddenly looked like she was about to be resurrected, and Chen Jun also had his mouth watering. Come on, get it yourself. Wu Jiantao put the plate of milk and egg pudding on the table and took a bottle for Chen Jun. Thanks. Chen Jun glanced at him with a smile on her face. Well, this boy did a good job. Wu Ma, who was standing nearby, was naturally very happy when she saw this scene. It was a good thing that her son knew how to love his wife, but at the same time, she felt a little uncomfortable. After all, this was the son she had raised since he was a child. When she thought about how this kid knew to give his mother a portion of any delicious food he got when he was a child. At the critical moment, Chen Jun was sensible and stood up to give her future mother-in-law a milk and egg pudding. "Aunt, you eat too?" "Haha, great." Wu Ma laughed happily. Her daughter-in-law really knows how to care for others. This brat has forgotten his mother now that he has a wife. Wu Jiantao didn't notice these small details at the dining table. After dinner, Yuan Huang left in a hurry, without even the time to hug his girlfriend or comfort her. Although the mission was completed perfectly, he had to follow up on many subsequent tasks as the captain, and even participate in the subsequent operations against the Shadow Brigade in the southern continent. He will be busy in the next week, or even more than half a month. Chapter 130, Life and Death. Victory and defeat. Please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket tilde. However, the leaders in the department are now considering that it is rare for this older young man to have a girlfriend. Many old colleagues even drive him away for no reason. They will not let him get involved in work if he can avoid it. They want him to spend more time with his girlfriend and quickly settle the major events in his life. As for work, it's not like we can't do it without him. Unfortunately, Yuan Huang failed to live up to everyone's expectations. He was still at the old-fashioned stage when it came to love, and thus missed the opportunity to win Li Zyarashan over in one fell swoop. After this guy left, Li Zyarashan didn't dare to go back to 902 alone. Well, the scene she saw on the 5th floor in the afternoon is still vivid in her mind. So scary. She curled up on the sofa in the living room of 903. One hand pitifully grasped Wu Ma's arm and immediately started to act like a spoiled child. Wu Ma, I'm scared. Wu Ma. It must be said that this girl's ability to act like a spoiled child is absolutely at its peak. In addition, she also learned from Yuan Huang and Wu Jiant what Li Ziarashan saw over there. The aunt immediately hugged her lovingly and said, "Don't be afraid, I'm going to stay here today. How about you sleep in the same room with me tonight?" "Is it possible?" Li Ziarashan immediately climbed up the pole and threw herself into Wu Ma's arms, rubbing against her. "Then it's settled. Wu Ma Ning is the best." Mother Wu was holding the big baby with a mixture of laughter and tears. On the other side, she saw Wu Jiantao walking out of the master bedroom and quickly asked him a question. "Have you given the baby a bath?" Wu Jiantao came over and sat on the sofa, exhaled a long breath, and tried to calm himself down, but he still felt a little restless. The whole process of the life and death duel with the knife expert in the elevator this afternoon is still playing over and over in his mind, and each time gives him a new experience. If I had reacted a few tenths of a second slower than the opponent's knife that dropped from the sky, it would have penetrated my crown and killed me instantly. Wu Jiantao didn't realize that elite-level cooking skills are only a step away from cultivating the mind. You know, cooking is a skill that requires eyes, hands, and heart, which is similar to martial arts. In recent days, he has been practicing standing meditation and boxing every day. While cooking in the kitchen, he inadvertently discovered that the mind skills in body movements and boxing strength can be integrated into them, and a very wonderful chemical reaction was produced. Although this strange state of training did not last long, only a month at most, it allowed him to inadvertently hit the rhythm of practice, and his mind progressed rapidly, especially when he was holding a knife, a pot, or a spatula. He could clearly feel the control of the changes in the ingredients in the pot, just like the control of his own internal strength. Very amazing. Therefore, when the opponent's second knife drew an arc and slashed towards his neck, Wu Jiantao, with the frying pan in his hand, reacted almost instinctively like he did in the kitchen. He simply pushed it forward and blocked it. And the moment the second sword was blocked, the swordsman from the Shadow Brigade was greatly shocked. You know, facing his sudden attack, there are only a handful of people who can block his first two swords, and they are all experienced masters, but this kid in front of him. He is just a young man who has not even received any actual combat training. And then it was the swordsman's most crucial third strike. In fact, Wu Jiantao was a little confused. Why did this knife expert choose to chop with his third knife so clumsily? Wouldn't it be faster to take a straight line? Now he figured it out. It was very simple, because the sword in his hand was too long and the two of them were too close. If the sword master had to stab with his next blow, he had to create some distance, but the space in the elevator was too small. As for the combo, there was almost no gap between the third strike and the first two strikes. The connection was very tight, and even a general master of whole strength would not be able to react at all, but he was facing. It is Wu Jiantao who does not follow the beaten path. So when the frying pan blocked the third swift and cunning knife, Wu Jiantao took a small step forward and used the chopping fist of Xinyaquan with the kitchen knife in his right hand to chop directly at his head. The result was that the kitchen knife went straight onto the other person's forehead. After seeing the elevator surveillance video, Wu Ma was surprised and speechless. She hadn't seen him for a few days, so how could this boy's martial arts path suddenly go astray? "Xiao Shan, please go to the room with Chen Jun first. I want to talk to Xiao Tao." Wu Ma patted Li Ziarashan, who was lying in her arms. Seeing that the girl was lazy, she added jokingly, "Be good. What I told him was related to what happened in the afternoon. You won't like to hear it." Upon hearing this, Li Ziarashan immediately got up swiftly, turned around and ran towards the master bedroom. As soon as the girl left, Wu Ma looked at her son with a strange look which made him feel a little uncomfortable. After a pause, he said, "This feeling is not good, right?" She found it a little funny to see her son's body and mind tense, yet he didn't dare to relax. In fact, you shouldn't keep thinking about the battle with the other party today. It's best to find something to do to divert your attention. In the process of diverting your attention, consciously relax your body and mind, calm yourself down, and then have a good sleep. You will feel better when you wake up tomorrow. Wu Jiantao smiled bitterly. How could I not think about it? Judging from the result of this sudden life and death duel at noon today, he had won. But until now, he had not felt the slightest joy of defeating his opponent, really not at all. Yes, although there is no luck in this kind of duel, winning means life, losing means death. The result is clear at a glance. And every martial arts master who came to the scene to see the result did not think that Wu Jiantao's victory was a fluke, because everyone saw it clearly in the elevator surveillance. Whether it was the creative idea of hiding the frying pan plus kitchen knife on his body, or his quick reaction to avoid the opponent's first knife falling from the sky, Wu Jiant even won admirable results in this life and death battle. But in this battle, Wu Jiantao knew only the cold and warm water, just like a blind man who drinks water. He really didn't think that in this actual battle, he had any advantage over the opponent. In his opinion, winning this life and death battle was more of a matter of luck, and he couldn't help but think, if the system hadn't given me this magical ability to carry the world on my back, I would be dead right now, right? Life and death, victory and defeat. This is how we learn martial arts and boxing. I'm stuck. I'm taking a day off today, so I'll update once for I need to sort things out, and I haven't sorted out the details of the follow-up yet. Oh, it feels so difficult. If I can code it out, I'll update it in the evening tilde. Chapter 133, Teaching. Please subscribe and vote tilde. Mother Wu understood her son's condition very well. Your father and I went through this when we were young. The way we dealt with this discomfort back then was to get ourselves moving. It would be best if we could find something that we were interested in and could concentrate on to divert our attention. Wu Jiantao nodded and asked curiously, so what did you do to divert attention? For some reason, Wu Ma suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Well, anyway, it should be something that can divert your attention. By the way, I haven't asked you how you came up with the idea of putting the frying pan and kitchen knife on your back. How did you put them in there? Wouldn't you hurt yourself accidentally? Wu Ma was very curious and changed the subject very stiffly. Wu Jiantao quickly explained it and demonstrated it to her, which amazed Wu's mother. She watched her son put the kitchen knife into the frying pan, secure it with a special method, and then put it on his back. If she hadn't had a preconceived notion, it would have been difficult for her to notice that the boy had these two objects hidden on his back. She also practiced martial arts, so she naturally knew how useful hiding a weapon on the back could be at a critical moment, especially the action of reaching from the top to the back. This posture itself is the best posture for exerting force. Wu Ma was amazed and followed her son to learn the technique of holding the thing on the back with great interest. The key to the art of hiding things on the back is not how to fix things on the back, but to use light and angles to prevent people around you from noticing that there is something hidden on your back. This is more difficult because sometimes there are more people around. To be frank, this is just a simple trick. As for Wu Ma's worry about whether she would be hurt by the kitchen knife on her back, it is unlikely because the kitchen knife was placed in the frying pan and fixed with a small steel wire. Wu Jiantao's creative idea of hiding a frying pan and a kitchen knife on his back has attracted a lot of attention and heated discussion in the M Province Security Bureau. When Yuan Huang brought back the video of his fight in the elevator and the idea of the back of the universe, it attracted the attention of the Guard Department and the Security Bureau, especially some martial arts predecessors. They could see at a glance that these two seemingly ordinary household kitchen utensils could unleash close combat power when held in the hands. The Security Bureau was immediately organized, and many seniors stepped forward to offer advice. Some experts who are good at making weapons redesigned the frying pan and kitchen knife into weapons. Some experts who are good at cold weapon combat redesigned the sword and shield techniques of the frying pan plus kitchen knife. Some even went a step further and designed battle formations for multiplayer combat cooperation, etc. For a while, the Security Bureau of Province M became bustling, and many people got to know Wu Jiantao, the inventor of this tactic. Interesting, really interesting. If we can further modify the frying pan into a small round shield with a handle and put a knife sheath inside the small round shield to hold the kitchen knife, a short knife. If so, if we put it on our back, it will hardly be discovered. Yeah, that's right. The strange thing is that the guy clearly taught us this technique, but we always have flaws when we use it and it's easy to see through it. Could it be that this kid has something else to hide? No, that shouldn't be the case. This little fellow even explained clearly some of his unique body movements after hiding his weapon. That should be a problem of application. We should let our men practice more. Combined with our optimization and modification of these two weapons, I believe they will be able to achieve perfection soon. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's think about this now. Should we remove the handle of this small round shield? If we remove it, will it make it difficult to take out? Well, this is a problem. Let's make these two types of small round shields first, then try them out and make a choice. Wu Jiantao and Yunlu Garden knew something about the research and further optimization of the pot knife tactics by the Security Department and the Security Bureau through his cousin Yuan Huang, but he did not participate too much. Well, he only taught them how to hide the frying pan and kitchen knife on their backs, but he didn't teach them the whole back secrets. This is also the fundamental reason why he can use it perfectly, and it is difficult for others to notice that there is a frying pan and a kitchen knife hidden on his back. It's not that he is cherishing his own skills, but this unique technique is like a traditional skill that has been passed down for thousands of years and perfected by several generations. This technique has reached the point where it can turn decay into magic, and there is even a very unique intention in it, which can only be understood but not expressed in words. How can he teach this? Therefore, Wu Jiantao could only teach Yuan Huang and several members of the Tiger Roar team the technique of how to hide the cleaver plus frying pan on the back. Learning effect. Not bad. It is not that difficult to learn. It only requires a combination of small techniques, and they can easily put the frying pan and kitchen knife on the back, but they can never reach the level of hiding. As the saying goes, a master leads you to the door, but practice depends on yourself. Perhaps once the security agency weaponizes and upgrades the frying pans and kitchen knives, they should be able to do it. In this regard, Wu Jiantao was also helpless. It was like since the beginning of the new century, the Chinese martial arts community has basically put the traditional martial arts boxing training methods and mental formulas on the internet, and there are even various teaching videos. However, the key still depends on the individual's own understanding and use of this technique, and practice day after day and year after year to be able to master it. The martial arts world today is no longer the martial arts world of thousands of years ago. Many bad habits and traditions that existed in the martial arts world in the past, such as the distinction between schools, passing on skills to males but not females, not passing on skills to people with different surnames, etc., are disappearing rapidly. Nowadays, if you randomly meet a professional martial artist, if he practices internal martial arts, he will most likely be proficient in Xingyi, Tai Chi, Bagua, and other martial arts. Just like Wu Jiantao, in addition to learning the Wu family's Xinyiquan since childhood, he also knows Pai Gua Zhang and Bajiquan, and even learned the old frame Tai Chi. However, the boxing techniques he learned are a bit outdated. You know, every boxing style is developed through the research of several generations, and it is constantly updated and upgraded, becoming newer and stronger. That is to say, he has not yet reached the level of perfection in Xinyiquan. When he reaches this level in the future, if he wants to learn from the strengths of various schools, he will definitely have to learn from some famous masters of these boxing styles. However, to reach this level, one must at least be like Wu Ma, or at least reach the martial arts realm where one's strength has reached perfection. These are still far away from Wu Jiantao now, at least that's what he thinks. Chapter 134, please subscribe, and vote for the monthly ticket tilde. Regarding the follow-up affairs of the Shadow Brigade, Wu Jiantao, who had been dismissed as a temporary team member, did not continue to participate, but returned to his peaceful life. This time, Wu Ma came over not specifically to bring an old hen to nourish her daughter-in-law, but because she heard from her son that Daodu and Mayo Mia were frightened and couldn't sleep well at night, so she wanted to come over to help take care of them. Well, as someone who has been through this, she knows very well about babies making noises in the middle of the night. Even though more than 20 years have passed, Wu Jiantao's mother still has a deep impression of the time when that naughty boy made noises in the middle of the night when he was just a few months old. However, the night she came, the two cute little babies didn't help her take care of her. Instead, a frightened big baby grabbed her and wouldn't let go. She was even scared awake several times in the middle of the night. Thinking about it carefully, it was not surprising. After all, she was just an ordinary girl and had never seen such a bloody scene, especially since that guy stepped on the guy's forehead to pull back the kitchen knife and finally said to Wu Jiantao, "Do you still want this kitchen knife?" Even Wu Jiantao, who killed his opponent with his own hands, could not bear such a fierce scene, let alone a weak woman like her. The next morning, Wu Ma, who had just woken up, looked at the girl lying on the bed with tears on her face. She couldn't help but feel angry. Without thinking, she took out her phone and called Yu Wenwang directly. On the other side, on the first day of interrogating Shadow Fox, Yuan Huang and his teammates stayed up all night like hawks. As the captain, he basically did not sleep the whole night and just took a nap before dawn. "Hey, second aunt." After receiving Wu Ma's call, he was a little dazed. Then, the angry roar from the other end of the phone startled him so much that he almost fell off the recliner in the office. Okay, I get it. I'll be there right away. I'll accompany her at night. No. She and I have only known each other for less than half a month. Yes, she and I are in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, but isn't it a bad idea to do it so soon?" Hearing this guy's hesitant answer, Wu Ma was so angry that she just said, "Don't you dare come and try it tonight. and hung up the phone. Yu and Huang, should I go or should I go or should I go? What? Yunlu Garden, room 903, building 11. How was it? Were Daodu and Mio still crying last night? Looking at Wu Jiangtao, who had some dark circles under his eyes, Wu's mother asked a question as she sat down at the dining table. Fortunately, he only woke up and cried twice. After I coaxed him down the second time, he didn't wake up and cry again. He said something, and Chen Jun beside him handed him a piece of toast that had been made with a toaster, and said apologetically, "Why don't you go catch up on your sleep later? I can take care of the baby myself in the morning." "It's okay, I'm fine." Wu Jiangtao rubbed his brows and said, "I'll give myself some moxibustion later to clear my meridians, and then I'll sit quietly for a while. It's okay." Chen Jun nodded. "You guys eat, I'll go check on Zairoshan." She was really frightened yesterday. She slept very uneasily last night and woke up several times. Upon hearing this, Chen Jun looked up in surprise and quickly stood up. "Aunt, I'll go see her too." After all, they were best friends since childhood, so she naturally cared about them very much, but Chen Jun's beautiful eyebrows slightly frowned. What did Zairoshan see? How could she be so scared? In her impression, her best friend has always been very bold, and this kind of situation has never happened to her before. Wu Jiangtao remained tight-lipped about this matter and did not tell her. Chen Jun is taking care of the baby now. Just thinking about that scene makes me feel uncomfortable. It's better not to tell her. This afternoon, Daodu and Mio woke up for nearly 3 hours. During this time, they played with their parents and grandma for a while, trained themselves to lift their heads, and then fell asleep again. In the evening, after dinner, Wu Ma went back to her hometown. Before leaving, Yu and Huang finally came over happily. Well, Wu Ma, the second aunt and master's wife, had said that if he didn't come, he would be in trouble. As for the work at the National Security Agency, after learning about the specific situation, the superior leader directly told this guy to go back and rest. Of course, the main thing is to take care of the girl. After all, the girl was scared by them. As the captain and boyfriend, you can't stay out of it, right? In front of his leader, Yu and Huang said something like, "Because everyone in the Shadow Brigade is working overtime. And as the captain, I can't get any special treatment." But he was spat in the face and came back in a dishevel. With the arrival of this guy, Li Zairoshan immediately became more confident. She naturally clung to him, acting like a spoiled child and being affectionate to him. Fortunately, Chen Jun is not single now. Otherwise, she would have been so embarrassed by the two of them that her skin would be covered with goosebumps. But it was also good. After dinner at 9:03 that night, Chen Jun unceremoniously sent Li Zairoshan and Yu Wenhuang to the next door 9:02. Now that her boyfriend is here, there is no reason for this guy to stay in 9:03 any longer, and she can finally feel more at ease. For some reason, as she stayed in 9:03 for longer, Chen Jun inexplicably didn't like having other people come to her house, even if they were her best friends. Is it because I have unknowingly started to regard this place as my home? Perhaps because the two of them had only been together for a short time. She still had some uncertainty and uneasiness about Wu Jiangtao, and she still viewed him as the father of her babies, not as her husband. But there is no doubt that the relationship between the two is at least boyfriend and girlfriend, and they are in a passionate love relationship. Every night before going to bed and every morning when waking up, they hug and kiss naturally. Chen Jun has experienced every little thing in these days. Day and night, they take care of the baby together. He cooks and she cleans the house. He practices standing meditation and she practices yoga. Occasionally, I would go downstairs, push Daodu and Mio, and walk along the garden path downstairs to the Jiangzhou Island in the river behind the community, watching the flying birds and the green leaves. It's not just like or love. Chen Jun believes that she is not a very emotional person. She even tends to rationally summarize her relationship with Wu Jiangtao from the beginning to now. It seems to be these, but not just these. But what exactly is it? She doesn't know how to describe it, thinking carefully. At first, it was because of the two babies that Chen Jun had to accept some care from Wu Jiangtao. But as time went on, with that rogue care from someone day after day, Chen Jun unknowingly began to feel. 9:03, it's home. A home that will most likely support you for the rest of your life. Chapter 135 is here again. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. The baby was sleeping peacefully in the bedroom, while the two adults were sitting on the sofa in the living room outside, watching TV series. Since entering university and starting working, Chen Jun has never watched any dramas. As a result, Li Zairoshan has always said that she is too frivolous and has little sense of life. In addition to research, work, and study, there is nothing else in her life. It is too boring. If it were someone else, it would be difficult to chat with her. Before, she had just listened to Lee Xiaoshan's words and never took them to heart. But now she had changed her attitude and started to consciously watch some TV dramas. It's not that she has changed and started to like watching these TV dramas. Chen Jun wants to get in touch with reality and learn about some of the popular things nowadays, especially since Lee Xiaoshan always talks about steering wheel, highway, and veteran driver in front of her, which she really can't understand. The goddess feels that she needs to get in touch with reality so that she can have a chat with Wu Jiangtao. Chen Jun was initially puzzled by the encounter between a returnee and her first love in this urban romance drama, and could not help but say, "Hey, why is this woman like this? She obviously doesn't need to appear in this city or in front of this man anymore, so why does she still show up?" Well, maybe. The person who made up this plot felt that love requires these premises. Wu Jiangtao approached quietly and spoke to her seriously. It has to be said that the plot progression, character images, and the very confusing relationship between the male and female protagonists, as well as what happened in the past, are all very fascinating. Even Wu Jiangtao, who never watches this kind of urban romance drama, enjoyed watching it with relish. However, when he finally saw the male and female protagonists finally start a frank conversation, the extremely tangled and simple and rough content of their conversation completely broke his defense. Male protagonist: "Guess how much I hated you during these years when you were gone. I still like you, but that's what I want to say." Heroine: "I'm sorry. My father asked me to go. I have my reasons, but I won't say them." Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun. Male protagonist: "I just want to know now, if you knew what happened to me at that time, would you still leave? I am expressing my feelings, can't you see it?" The heroine: "I'm sorry. Given the situation at that time, I definitely would not leave, but my father would definitely force me to leave. I have my own reasons, but I won't say them." Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun. "No, this. Is it difficult to say it? Even if you say that you have no choice but to do so, maybe the male protagonist will feel better." Male protagonist: "What about now?" Female lead: "What now?" Male protagonist: "Do you want to come back to me? You know, in my current position, I have a lot of things to do every day. I probably don't have the time to waste too much time on this, and I don't have the interest to get to know girls again and develop a relationship. I have thought about it carefully, and you are the most suitable for me right now. I lick you because I think highly of you." The little licker back then actually dares to. The heroine was embarrassed but looked aggrieved. She said directly, "I got married." Male protagonist: Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun. In China, all the viewers who were watching this TV series at the same time. "No. How did you get married? Why is the heroine married? Things have become so twisted. How can the subsequent bad fate continue? Can this love story continue? Writer, come out and we promise not to beat you up." Not to mention Chen Jun, even Wu Jiangtao was very curious about this complicated relationship and the subsequent development of the plot. But at this critical juncture, this episode ended directly. My goodness, the screenwriter and director must have taken a class on chapter breaking in Kidian to get the hang of this drama. Wu Jiangtao didn't know how others felt when they saw this, but he felt uncomfortable everywhere. Of course, this is not the key point. The key point is the conversation between the hero and the heroine just now, which gave him goosebumps all over his body. Snap, he picked up the remote control, exited the show directly, and turned on the children's channel. "I think we can watch Pleasant Goat and Big Big Wolf." Paw Patrol and Chicken Team are also good. Any one of them is much better than that Love is Beautiful. Chen Jun slapped the guy in reproach, snatched the remote control, and turned back to the drama, AI Ru Liu Li. I have already seen the latest episode of VVIP. If I want to see the subsequent episodes, I have to wait for the update. How old are you? Still reading these? Regarding this question, Wu Jiangtao raised his eyebrows, approached her, and said in a sly tone, "Don't you know it very well? Get out." The girl's face suddenly turned red, and she couldn't help but kick him. Bang! Wu Jiangtao quickly grabbed the tender pink feet that were delivered to his door. The girl tried to pull her feet back, but couldn't. Her face became even redder. You let me go." "Don't want. Will you let it go?" "I don't want it." Chen Jun laughed angrily and said, "Why do you always hold my feet? It's so weird." "I like." As he spoke, Wu Jiangtao actually lowered his head and nibbled her feet. Chen Jun, not willing to be outdone, reached out to tickle him. Well, this was the only weakness of Wu Jiangtao that she had discovered during the time they had been together. Oops. The two of them were playing around on the sofa and had no time to watch TV. Wu Jiangtao kept moving forward, but Chen Jun blocked his mouth with her hand with a look of disgust, saying angrily, "You just kissed my feet. They are dirty. Don't do that. That was your foot just now. That won't work either." Like, what? All night, no words. It's just that Wu Jiantao has a hard time enduring this. After all, he has a goddess as beautiful as a fairy as his wife. No matter what, he can't end up like this, right? Not really. However, some things are beyond the control of one's own will. At about 6 in the morning, Wu Jiantao woke up and was speechless. Beside him, Chen Jun was sleeping soundly, hugging his arms. No wonders. Someone exhaled lightly, climbed down from the bed carefully, stood by the bed and stretched, his muscles and bones making a crackling sound. Sand. He opened the cabinet and took out a brand new pair of underwear. Then he looked back at the bed, walked into the bathroom, and started to change his clothes. Plop. Outside the bedroom window, there was the sound of birds flapping their wings as they flew by, and sometimes they would even stop outside the window. On the bed in the room, Chen Jun, who had her eyes closed, had a faint blush creeping up on her originally calm face. Chapter 136, The Baby is Sick. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. After lying quietly for a long time, someone carefully opened his eyes. At the same time, a hint of anger and shame appeared on his face. He couldn't help but cover his face with his hands. I'm going to die, how could I catch him? Slowly raising her head, she glanced in the direction of the bathroom and heard the sound of clothes rubbing inside. You never stop doing this day in and day out. Humph, you big pervert, you stinky hooligan. Chen Jun blushed and couldn't help but curse softly, and suddenly, snap, there was a sound of the bathroom door opening. It was pushed open a crack. She hurriedly put her head into the air conditioning quilt, making a slight dong sound. Huh. Wu Jiantao was holding the pajamas and underwear, and was stunned at first. But then he reacted and looked with amusement at the girl who was lying on the bed with her head buried in the quilt like a quail. He turned around and went to the balcony and hung up 2 pairs of trousers. Last night, the 2 babies finally stopped waking up and crying during sleep like before. They only woke up twice. They both slept well last night. Facts have proved that Chen Jun's judgment is correct. Using the intimate contact method of saturated hugging to give babies sufficient sense of security and pleasure can really soothe and heal their frightened bodies and minds. Mother Wu, who came over the day before yesterday, was very puzzled to see these 2 new parents holding their children all day long. Although she did not talk to Chen Jun in person, she found an opportunity to have a good communication with her son in private. I heard my son share the scientific data and experience that young people like him got from some papers and experimental data, saying that we should always hold the baby and comfort the baby, so as to eliminate the baby's night terrors and crying. Wu Ma couldn't understand this. In her opinion, this would form a dependence, which would be unfavorable for raising the baby in the future and would easily spoil the baby. However, what her son said to her made sense when she thought about it carefully. Nothing can replace parental care, let alone parental love. It calls its parents every few hours and sleeps very peacefully after being stroked and fed. Many elders, including relatively open-minded grandmothers like Wu Ma, always think that if they pick up and comfort babies as soon as they cry, it will lead to the children's lack of independence and dependence. But in fact, the baby at this time has not even formed a clear consciousness. In such a small head, all reactions are just instinctive. But when the baby feels threatened or uneasy or hungry or feels very uncomfortable somewhere in the body, although the reasons are different, the only way to express it is crying. It should be noted that when the baby cannot be calmed down no matter how the parents comfort him, the best option is to take the baby to the hospital immediately. This is because the baby must be feeling very uncomfortable somewhere. There is no other reason for this to happen. Jiangtao. Suddenly, Chen Jun's scream was heard in the room. Wu Jiantao had just hung up the clothes. When he heard her voice, he immediately turned around and rushed into the room. What's wrong? Come quickly. In front of the baby's bed, Chen Jun was so anxious that she was a little panicked. She pointed at the red patches on Daodu's face and the very dense red dots, which looked particularly scary. Even though Daodu was sleeping peacefully at this moment, she couldn't help but pick up the baby and brought him in front of Wu Jiangtao. Jiangtao, come and take a look what happened to Daodu. She was so anxious that her tone sounded like tears. This is... Wu Jiangtao's face froze slightly, and he quickly lowered his head to look carefully at Daodu's little face, then turned over Daodu's hands, feet, and other parts of the body, and found that there were quite a few on the neck, chest, and back. She turned her head and looked at her brother Mio Mio next to her. There were also some small red spots on his face, but not as serious as her sister's. There were also quite a few on his neck, chest, back, and nail grooves. Suddenly, he frowned deeply. Daodu and Mio Mio were always dry and took a bath every 2 days. Even when they went out, they were very careful not to go under trees or in the bushes. for fear that the two babies would be bitten by mosquitoes or allergic to some powder. It's probably eczema. Eczema. Chen Jun was stunned at first, and then he looked down at the two babies and said anxiously, "Don't we take good care of the two babies? We never let them touch any dirty things. Or can't they just take a bath every 2 days?" That's not right. The air conditioner at home has always been at the most suitable temperature. Daodu and Mayomeo have never sweated much. How could this happen? At this time, the red patches on Daodu's face and the dense red dots were particularly scary, making the mother holding the baby so anxious that she almost turned around in circles. Perhaps it was the telepathic connection with her mother, or perhaps it was the rashes on her face and body, but Daodu felt very uncomfortable. She immediately started crying loudly and kept rubbing against Chen Jun's arms. "If I remember correctly, Daodu, we fed her milk before the meal." "Right." Chen Jun nodded repeatedly. "About an hour, let me feed her." "Okay, control yourself. After all, it's only been over an hour since we ate. Be careful not to let Daodu eat too much and get bloated, otherwise he'll easily vomit milk again." "Okay, I know." Chen Jun quickly opened the warehouse and put the food in. He only fed the little guy for 5 or 6 minutes, and then immediately put it away when the little guy stopped making noises. The little guy also woke up and kept whining and looked very uncomfortable. "What should I do? Daodu must be feeling very uncomfortable." Perhaps because it was the first time her child was sick. She was so heartbroken at that moment that she was at a loss, and her usual calmness disappeared. Calm down first, calm down first." Wu Jiantao tried to persuade her but found it was useless. Then, an idea suddenly occurred to him and he said, "By the way, when you were pregnant with Daodu and Mayomeo, didn't you find a lot of papers and information on parenting? Perhaps, in addition to the ones about baby crying, are there any about skin treatments?" Ahem. With just these words, Chen Jun, who was holding Daodu, miraculously calmed down immediately and began to recall the parenting information he had collected before. Yes, I remember there is. I'll look for it now, I'll look for it now." She immediately stuffed Daodu into Wu Jiangtao's arms, turned around and ran to the desk, and began to look for information on the bookshelf. I'll look for it, I'll look for it." As soon as Chen Jun calmed down, she immediately started looking for some relevant information. Unfortunately, she was a science and engineering student, and these materials were not organized into categories. She was inevitably a little anxious during the search process. Chapter 130, 7 Causes of Disease. Please subscribe and vote for Matilda. At this time, the anxious and worried mother wished she was a top student in the medical field so that she could find information as soon as possible, find the root cause of the dermatitis in the two babies, and provide effective treatment plans. On the other side, Wu Jiangtao gently put Daodu on the baby bed, but put a pillow between him and his brother Mayomeo to slightly separate the two babies. "Well, this is a skin disease, and my brother's symptoms are obviously milder, so it is very likely that he was infected by his sister Daodu. However, this is just Wu Jiangtao's guess and is not certain. After all, the two babies are just a little closer to each other and are not often together. Moreover, the two of them were always very careful when taking care of the babies, not letting them get too close to avoid them scratching each other. Well, both the brother and the sister are very active and love to reach out and touch and scratch things. Sometimes, the mother's arms and even the granary will be scratched by the two little guys. This is inevitable. The nails on baby's fingers grow very fast. Sometimes, Wu Jiangtao had just trimmed them in the morning and was very careful to scrape them so that they were not too sharp. But when the baby grabbed Chen Jun in the afternoon, it felt as if they had not been trimmed at all. Even more painful, it's not just Chen Jun. Wu Jiangtao will also fall into the trap if he is not careful. Once he leaned in to kiss her little girl, and the girl reached out and scratched her face in disgust, leaving a very conspicuous scratch. It shouldn't be contagious. Wu Jiangtao carefully observed the dermatitis on the two babies' faces and bodies, and found that except for the different degrees of symptoms on their faces, the rashes on Daodu and Mayomeo were similar in location. On the neck, a small area on the chest below the neck, and on the back, mainly concentrated in a small area below the neck. There are also quite a few in the thigh area near the lower abdomen, especially in the nail groove. He wasn't wearing too many clothes, and the room wasn't stuffy. Suddenly, Wu Jiangtao seemed to remember something. By the way, Chen Jun, do you remember that both Daodu and Mayomeo often drool? Finally, some medical papers on the treatment of baby dermatitis and eczema were found. Chen Jun, who was reading them attentively, was stunned at first, then looked up. Drooling. Does this have anything to do with the rash on Daodu Mayomeo's body? Well, come and take a look. Wu Jiangtao pointed at the necks and chests of the two babies and said, I remember that when Daudu and Mia were sleeping, they would sometimes drool, which would get on their faces and necks, and sometimes even wet their clothes on their backs. Huh. Well, I suspect that the eczema on Daudu and Mia's faces, necks, and upper backs of their chests may be caused by drooling while sleeping in the middle of the night, or when you were breastfeeding. Your milk accidentally wet the baby's clothes. The baby's skin is too delicate, and it is normal for the rash to appear when it is constantly attached to wet clothes. Chen Jun was a little confused. Is that so? But when we woke up in the morning, the baby's clothes were always dry. No. Wu Jiangtao pointed at the air conditioner in the room and said, don't forget that we have always had the air conditioner on in our room. With the baby's body temperature, the wet clothes on the baby will dry easily overnight. When I woke up in the morning, I felt the clothes on the baby's chest were wet a few times, but I didn't pay attention to it at the time. Now it seems that I was negligent. Daudu and Mia's chests and backs might have been wet frequently in the middle of the night before. Listening to Wu Jiangtao's analysis, Chen Jun was thoughtful and thought it was indeed very possible. One more thing, Wu Jiangtao said helplessly. Your milk often overflows, and it is very likely that you will be drowsy in the middle of the night and wet the baby's pillow and clothes. Forehead. Chen Jun was immediately annoyed. It's all my fault if I had been more careful. Don't worry, this is just my inference, and it may not be the reason, but we must make sure the baby's clothes, blankets, and pillows are dry. Otherwise, the baby's eczema may be difficult to cure. Look at this. Chen Jun finally found a few articles about baby skin health. Take a look first. Wu Jiangtao opened it and saw some information and treatments about baby eczema. Take a look first. I'll call Director Zai to ask. Well, it's already this late. She's off work now. I wonder if she'll mind me disturbing her. What? The call was connected. Hello, Director Zai. It's me, Zio Chen. Zio Chen, you're calling me at this time because something's wrong with the baby, right? I'm sorry to bother you so late, Director Zai. It's okay, you say. Chen Jun quickly explained the situation of the two babies' red spots. It sounds like eczema, but it could also be inflammation. So, add me on WeChat and we can have a video call. I'll check on the baby remotely. Oh, and take the baby's temperature. Do you have a thermometer at home? Yes. Chen Jun said quickly. Okay, add me on WeChat first. I'll use the same mobile number as mine. Okay, thank you. No. Next, Director Zai conducted an online video consultation, looked at the two babies' conditions, and carefully asked them if they had given the babies random food or had come into contact with powder when going out. Regarding these possibilities, Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun naturally shook their heads to deny them. Mother Wu and Mr. Mo had specifically reminded them of these precautions, and they had always been very careful. After comprehensive analysis, the two babies have eczema. Well, babies a few months old are most likely to get eczema. Basically, at least 8 or 9 out of 10 babies will have it. Most of them can't avoid it, but the degree is different, and the causes are also mostly different. But generally speaking, babies' eczema is mostly related to food allergies. Food allergies? Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao looked at each other in bewilderment. But we only feed our baby breast milk. He hasn't even had water. How could he be allergic? Director Zai, I was wondering if it was because the baby drooled frequently and wet his clothes, or because Xiaojan's milk wet the baby's clothes and pillow when she was feeding him in the middle of the night. Wu Jiangtao leaned in front of the phone screen and said, that's partly the reason, but the baby's eczema is more of an internal problem. Xiaojan, have you eaten any irritating food recently? Chen Jun was stunned. It seems that after the confinement period, I have completely let myself go in terms of diet. Although Wu Jiangtao still makes some nourishing soups, most of the dishes are not as light as those during the confinement period. Chapter 138. Seeking medical treatment, please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket, tilde. Especially in the past 2 or 3 weeks, Chen Jun basically didn't pay much attention to what she ate. She just controlled her food intake. She ate all kinds of nationally famous mountain city specialties such as hand-shredded cabbage, spicy chicken, fish-flavored shredded pork, and other special foods from all over the country. As long as she could think of it, Wu Jiangtao could basically make it for her, and she enjoyed it very much. Looking at you now, I know that you must have lost control of your diet. As for the cause of baby eczema, Director Zai has seen a lot of it. He shook his head and smiled. When breastfeeding, the food the mother eats appears in the breast milk in the form of antigens, thus causing the baby's eczema. Although the proportion of breastfed babies suffering from eczema is lower, it is just like people who do long-term physical exercise will also get sick. It's just that the probability is lower, but many babies will still get it. The younger the baby is, the more likely eczema is to be associated with allergies, and the more likely it is to be associated with food allergies. For example, if you suddenly eat spicy food or allergenic food such as seafood and pineapple, it may cause eczema in your baby. After listening to director Zai's story, Chen Jun suddenly looked annoyed. No wonder my baby got eczema so suddenly. Since they were discharged from the hospital, the two babies have been taken care of by her and Wu Jiantao, and they have taken very meticulous care of them, doing their homework in advance for all the small details. But she neglected only her diet. Then, Director Zai, I will definitely control my diet from now on. Besides this, how should we treat the baby's current eczema? First of all, you should be more careful when taking care of your baby. Don't let any irritating substances come into contact with the baby's skin. Don't use strong shower gel or alkaline soap to wash the baby's eczema. Even the water temperature for bathing the baby should not be too high. It is best to keep it around 40 degrees. The temperature in the room should also be adjusted, not too high, to keep the room cool and ventilated, and clothes should be worn loosely. Full clothes